Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even 2 o'clock. Hold on.
This is a Friday. This is a Friday opportunity right here. These guys getting ready to get out of here. Welcome back. We're short everything.
Now it's 2 o'clock.
Now it's 2 o'clock. Okay, now we can start.
Right,
now we're on. Okay. Now we get paid. Okay, good.
What you didn't? Come on, man. Like you. First of all, the contract is very particular, and you don't want to go against. You don't want to go against the union, man. Like let's be real. We don't have enough.
We come back. We ring the registers a little bit. We are having a positive trading day, which is very, very positive, and we're happy with that one. But part of it is just because of right now we're short Google as Google makes moves back into the downside. Right now we're short AMD as well. But welcome back. The NASDAQ is flat, up 0.27 ES. Just double checking on the ES right now, flat as well. Even more flat, 0.03 for the ES, 0.28 for the NASDAQ. Quick check on what oil's doing and whatnot. Oil was not down 3%. Gold as well, making moves today. Back and forth, so we'll have to wait to see. Yeah, right now it's equities holding fort today as gold down, oil down, Bitcoin down. Bitcoin 58.64 right now, 664. But yeah, you can see on the board there, Neil and I both short right now, both short AMD. So we're definitely
should be long GameStop.
Okay, yeah, go over GameStop now. I'm just actually going to refresh.
No, I'm just saying I should be long GameStop, but I didn't even I didn't notice what was happening in GameStop. Admittedly, I'm not gonna tell a fib. I was a little bit tired after I did my exercises today. Not gonna lie, I was a little grimacing. It felt really good. I did a couple of extra sets of really pathetic calf pushes with the band. Like when I say pathetic, I just mean it's not very strong, but we're getting there. But what is very strong right now and looking like Kevin Durant's Achilles is GameStop. Well, I'm going to assume his Achilles is strong because he came back.
Fine now,
he just won a gold medal, so I'm assuming so. I'm not going to be like Kevin Durant. But look at GameStop go. I didn't see
Steph Curry, basically. That guy was nuts on that game. That guy was draining some threes.
He is the second best point guard of all time.
And then he just got paid $62.5 million for 1 year as well.
There's an argument to be said in the NBA that the top players are underpaid. I'm just going to throw it out there, but it probably has something to do with the middle guys get really great contracts, and what happens when you have a salary cap? I know we're talking about sports now. What? You're not logged into something? Oh, we have...
I'm not logged into Unity.
Well, Ramin's talking to me, but Sean's not logged into Unity, so we've got the rundown topics. All I was going to say is fine, we'll talk NBA later. GameStop's running. There is no news. 23.10 is a local breakout. If it does dip back into 23, maybe we look to join it. But the first thing we're supposed to talk about is SockSell. I'm surprised no GameStop. Really, GameStop's up 8%, and we don't want to talk about GameStop? Okay. No, SockSell, I think it's a story of a lot of things did exactly the same today, which would be false breakouts. So SockSell, false breakout, trend down. It's that simple. Until the trend is broken, I want to think you're still looking to the south side here. I mean, how clean is that when you look at it at 39? Obviously, we're probably at the open watching individual stocks. I know that to be true, but there's your false break. There's your head and shoulders if you're chartered market technician. I think it's just easy enough to say we reject above 39 and trend to the downside. So until we break back out, if you're not breaking 38 in VWAP, then pick a chip name that's not strong and try to go short. Like AMD's not at VWAP, but 147 and under here, 148.5 or 146.80 is a bit of a level. Nvidia, that's kind of it's doing a no man's land dance. So I'm not as interested in Nvidia. Nowhere close to the 119 VWAP. It held on to that 117.5 zone, which was, as Obi was pointing out, that's like the monthly. It goes red on the month if it's underneath 117.5. So Nvidia, there's your key level down there for a reversal. And obviously, with nothing going on in a tight range, you want something which is giving you a good entry point and some room to run. But until that trend is broken, I think the chips are trying to move to the downside after a rejection of the high. Trapped some longs, I'm going to assume, when this did the little dipsy-do and then broke out the top, probably trapped a few longs. Many have probably gotten out, but as long as the trend is your friend, to the end when it bends, we stay short.
There's some people talking about volume there in the chat. I think you're probably right, man. I mean, if there's going to be not too much volume here today, then we're going to have to sit on our hands. Hold on a second. I'm just refreshing the news feed, just in case we do get some news.
I haven't heard anything
popping through any revise. So we just shorted AMD. I mean, Neil just talked about that against VWAP. That's one trade. We want to talk about the SOXL itself. So, I mean, that's another thing that we'll trade, and we'll trade it. I trade it all the time. I prefer this over SMH. SMH is a little more expensive, but again, they all look pretty much the same. This trend is straight down. I would say we just keep on waiting for more short. Unfortunately, Nvidia didn't come with the goods that everyone sort of thought they would come with. Although they pushed out some of that Blackwell sales into the next quarter, which I think is going to be huge. Right now, it's just the trend is your friend, and I feel like we got to keep going short. Even on the midday show there, Obi was mentioning about that short that he had up there at 121 halves. I mean, that was the high of the day. We actually got a piece out on that. We were long 120 when he was trying to get short there, which was a great call in the short. But you could see the same thing. The 200 period is something that I use as an indicator, right? And that's just been holding here to the short side. We're getting ready to break it. I mean, there's definitely a coil up here in Nvidia, and that's going to lead the way. So, you know, you could get like what we've got in the past before with Nvidia. Yesterday afternoon, it was pretty boring until right about here when we broke, and that was at unfortunately, just past 330, we broke the range and went back up to the upside. So just a few things happening right now. We are starting to get to the down. No, well, we were getting to the downside in the market. Anyways, SOXL, I say you just stay short. Let Nvidia tell us what to do. But until you break VWAP, this is definitely a short. You know, the trend is down this way. And I actually wouldn't be afraid to short this 37 break. Yesterday's close, right there, 37 break to the downside for SOXL. I think that's your next play. Me?
Oh, well, next thing up on the topic board is going to be Tesla. So I don't know what happened in Tesla it looks like it was just a technical break. There was no news on Tesla. When it did this, the market wasn't doing that much. There was a bounce in the market, but big breakout on Tesla through it looks like the high was 210.83, so 211 broke. Now it's trying to hold on back, and I try to dip at the half dollar. And the reason for that is, like, I know you're trying to consolidate up the highs. The market wasn't that strong. But I looked at where this was in the afternoon, and there was some supply at 211.15. So I did take a shot at that one at 211.15. I like the breakout for support. This is a really dirty line. So let's do it a little bit better. The high of the double top of the day was here, Neil. So let's do that and get it right. And sometimes you draw like a trend line or a line in the chart. You're just being lazy about it. Let's do it a little bit better. So we just dipped into prior highs with a little bit of a bounce. If it can start trending back up again, I think Tesla looks like a little bit of a long relative to almost everything else that I'm looking, just based on that breakout. When you look at it on the higher time frame, heck, we're holding the 200 period moving average, so it pulled back into that. And 2 days of holding, and it's trying to break out of a consolidation. There's room if it can go. Just as Sean said, I mean, the volumes aren't that big. You can see here, if you look down, maybe it's tough for everybody to see if I do that. I think you get the idea. Like, look at the lack of, like, the lowest level of volume at the open. And, you know, it was okay going into it. Lunchtime, very low levels, but that's normal. But you're not yet picking it up the way you would see in the afternoon. So it looks like we're in for a lower volume session. If something wants to bleed in a certain direction, I don't think you want to do anything but go with it. Like, if it's bleeding down, stick with the short. If it's trying to go up, let it glide to the upside. But I don't want to be sitting around catching a falling knife just because it happens to look relatively strong. The volume's not there for that sort of a thing to carry us through the highs, I don't think.
You see that QR code there in the bottom? Is it right or left? I mean, when I'm looking at it, it's bottom right. But
well, it's
Moomoo QR code. Make sure you do scan that today because you can maximize your idle cash by, as a Canadian, enjoy 6% annual on your cash balances up to 10 grand for the first 60 days, along with 2-month commission free. You can also earn up to $2,300 in cash rewards when you transfer your portfolio. Both rewards can be enjoyed at the same time. With Moomoo, you'll gain access to comprehensive data on stocks, options, ETFs, as you guys see us trade every single day here. Please take advantage of algo trading. Please take advantage of algo trading, allowing you to create, backtest, and execute your own strategies. You hear us talk about that all the time on the show. Make sure you test your strategies. This gives you a great opportunity with the Moomoo platform, as well as setting up instant alerts to trade on your own signals, helping you take your trading to the next level. And of course, as always, we'd like to thank Moomoo for their contribution to this segment.
Sure. See, if we had a scanner, then we could have been noticed GME earlier.
We had a scanner, yeah.
I know.
So why did you? So GME again?
I don't
funny
know
because Raider Trader mentioned AMC to us, and it's been GameStop that's been sort of going, which is funny because last year when I went to Toronto International Film Festival, was it last year or the year before? I was able to see Dumb Money there.
Last year.
Was that last
year?
TIFF? And that, of course, is all about GameStop and Roaring Kitty, and that was great.
I still haven't seen
We had a great time there. Yeah, it was at the premiere. It was absolutely fantastic.
And it's free on Prime, and I still haven't watched it. That's bad. Traders should all
Is it somewhere now?
Okay, we're gonna get to Sing in a second. See, the thing is, if you don't put like someone at the green screen telling us what to talk about next, then we kind of get to it on our own time. No, all traders need to watch Rogue Trader. You should probably watch Big Short and Margin Call. Those are fantastic. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to assume Dumb Money's a good one to throw in there.
Yep.
And then the last one, you should all watch Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. And I'm not saying it's a trading movie, but it's just a lot of fun, and it's kind of adjacent to trading. And Boiler Room. Boiler Room's the other one.
Boiler Room is the original.
Yeah, how did I even, I should have probably looked.
Yeah,
but Rogue Trader and Boiler Room are probably the most important.
Boiler Room's probably like the only DVD or Blu-ray or whatever that I have left. I mean, I definitely remember picking that one up. And I think just for fun, I think Wolf of Wall Street, I think is pretty fun.
That's cap. You only have one. We have one DVD or Blu-ray in your entire house?
I might not even, but I just remember, maybe not even. I don't know.
So what'd you do with all of them?
I think donated them most likely. We
okay.
What's the Value Village?
Now you're making me feel bad for not donating. I have like 100 that I should probably.
No. I think
probably donate.
I have to
You're right.
I have to go double check. I mean, I'm talking about movies and stuff like that, right? Like some of the audio, some of the records. You still keep those. But as far as movies, I mean, you know what? I have to say, probably the only adult DVD that we have, because we don't have all of them are kids. I shouldn't have said adult, maybe.
Yeah.
Grown up, maybe.
Kids, not adults can watch.
Not adult-based DVDs. I don't want to get that. It's up there. Wall Street.
So,
but Wall Street, I think Wall Street is one of
Wolf of Wall Street too.
Wolf of Wall Street for sure. But then Wall Street mentioned in
of course,
another bonus there as well. It looks like Fabian looks like the logo. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? He's got all the right. All the black there. And then his head is kind of the red dot there.
That's too good. That's way too good. That wasn't even intentional.
That's not even why they meant to do that.
No, because we're supposed to talk about Sing for you guys.
Oh, Florida.
Oh, I know Florida. Yeah, so I think Obi's talking about Florida. I believe that's the one where when they went from
in English? Well, there was an English.
It's about like the death of the NYSE floor trader, the pit trading. So the transition, we had people making free money. Look, market makers that were down there in NYSE pits, like they were just making so much money, and it was easy for them. But then
Kyle pits.
But then when they went to like the automated computer trading, it was just a different ball game, and suddenly they had like this method that was printing for them, and almost nobody could survive, and it was a really interesting transition. And the reason that's good to watch, everybody, and this is floored, is because all trading requires you to sort of figure out new things as markets change, and that's exactly what that's about, and not everybody did. And so embracing online and computers and blah, blah, blah was good. And okay, Sing. So what's the name of this company? It's, we know this, Singularity. Singularity with a 3.5% short flow and less than 1 million share float. So obviously, this is one of those situations where it's done 3x, 4x, what the actual float is, but it did already fail on the back here. It tried to rally, failed at about 950, which would be an obvious area of resistance in front of $10, as you can see on a 15-minute chart. The good news, I always try to give you the good news. You had 2 days ago the close, so that'd be Wednesday's close, and then yesterday's highs would seemingly be a little bit of support. And look at that. So it's supporting not VWAP. VWAP's the line in a chart. It's supporting yesterday's high and then Wednesday's close at $8. I would say if it can hold on to this, maybe it's lulling everybody to sleep. And if the market doesn't do anything, you want to be in a runner. I would submit right now, it seems like the better runner is GameStop. I'm not that enthused to punch the highs, but you tell me which one looks more exciting. GameStop is the only thing that I have looked at since lunchtime that is doing more volume now than it was earlier. So whether or not we find a trade in it, I got to try to look for a trade here because it's the one going. Nothing against Sing. If Sing was doing this kind of volume, then it would be singing to me for opportunity. I'll leave that to Obi and Adara for the puns.
All right. Why don't we just go on over to Nvidia? I mean, look, so Nvidia, we knew it would be the bell of the ball one more time today as far as volume is concerned, but it's really been pretty boring, honestly. I mean, we had a great morning on it, just going long through. This Fabian guy can't get away. Oh, there's Obi. What's up, Obi? All right, we have green screen magic right now. So if you just go long where Fabian is right around here, then there comes, oh, there, yeah, right about there, Fabian. That's a pretty key level of 118 and change. So, oh no, watch out. Yeah, oh no. He has like some Spider-Man action in there, like the way he's moving around there. He was waiting, so I think he was probably predicting that maybe Nvidia was going to fall on him.
That's what it looked like to me.
It looked like he was worried about Nvidia completely falling on top of him. No, that's pretty good. But there's the 120 break. We talked about that trade. We really like that trade up there. It goes to 121.60. Our best out is 121.25. So we had some really good outs there as we ripped up to the top side. But the short was right because it comes back in. We retried it at 120. It was all good. And then we made more money here. So we don't have any losing trades in here for Nvidia until we finally broke below this 118 level right there. We have one out there as we try to defend 118, 119. It breaks 118.50 and we get out. We were using the pre-market bottom as our out. It gets out there fine. Then there's this crazy just wick to the downside where we are lucky enough to be sitting at 118. We get that. All these outs are 120. So that's $2. So the risk to reward in Nvidia today is really, really paying off as you come into there. That's another $1 right there off of 118. It's maybe 70 cents. Then eventually you wind up losing when we drop below that 118. So that's like another 30 cents or so off of that. But at the end of the day, the bottom is 117.50. And the 117.50 was actually brought to our attention by Obi. So Obi mentioned that it was the month level there for Nvidia. So, I mean, we don't have very good charts that will show us that. But there's 117. If you were here, that's your must be right there. What is that? July, June 26th. So right into there. July 1st is 117. And you come over here July 22nd. And he's talking about this bar right into here, closing 115.50 right there to see what happens with Nvidia for the month. So right now, kind of cruising around. I don't think there's a trade until we break this high probably of basically 119 or look to take out that bottom of 117.50. Closer to the bottom than the top, so I think a short is probably a little bit better.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to add about Nvidia because it was 120, it was 117.5, and now it's probably this 119. So, you know, it's not really doing a heck of a lot. I was just talking to because Patrick wasn't here in the morning, and he just kind of walked in, and the first thing I thought of, look, man, when a trader walks in with a smile on his face, I was like, and I know he had Mara short yesterday. I said, Patrick. And this was his trade. Like, this is it. Like, if you're a Mara trader, I know he's a Mara trader, and I know we're supposed to be talking about Nvidia, but Sean just kind of went over it. If you look at the technical failure that this had, now, obviously, Bitcoin was under 60,000. We come to the chart for a second, Ramin. There we go. Afternoon top. The first thing it did at the open was fail the literal afternoon high and just dump on one candle. Then it comes right back into the top, dumps again. Lower highs. Like if you're, I wasn't looking at this at the open. You know the stock. We were looking at chip names. A little bit of like a Lulu. Obviously, some like Tesla throw in there. Intel was that's a chip name as well. So wasn't looking at it until late, which was a mistake. So you're in a bit of a downward churn. And just because we're talking about Mara, I'm just going to slide on over and show you Bitcoin. This is what happened on BTC. It's recovering now back into 58, like 58.8 in here. But it has been a rough little go of it since failing that 60,000, and that's taking a bit of a toll out there on MARA. The other one, the last one on the list here, we got Microsoft. Okay. Now, I saw in the chat a few people pointing out, if the market, so there's the ES, can't seem to break 56, but it's consolidating lower, but it's not at the low of the day. Let's zoom it in there. Like you're bouncing off the low coming into V1. The NASDAQ, let's zoom it in again. You're bouncing off the low coming into V1. So you're getting you're getting some higher lows. Now, Microsoft, just a little different. I'm not saying it isn't bouncing, but the nature with which this is still selling, and when you look at yesterday's trade, all it is hanging out in the bottom of yesterday's range at this point, but pressing the low into 412, which is a double bottom. So Softy looks distinctly different. That said, this is a flat bottom break. So I don't want to be like, it's either breaking 412 or you wait to short the pop, I think. I'm going to have some eyeballs on Microsoft here, because if 412 does get taken out, I know it's Friday and breakouts and breakdowns maybe not the best way to go. You got a weak name in here. So if 412 happens to go, I do want to take a shot at it. So I'm going to slide Nvidia to a different level 2 and put Microsoft on that one over there, and then we can sort of move on. Yeah, 412, don't really have a pun for that one, but it's a double bottom today. It was a double bottom yesterday, so that makes it a double bottom on higher time frames. If it breaks, we are going to go.
There is news a little bit. It's not about Microsoft right now, but OpenAI is considering changes to its corporate structure to be more investor friendly off of the last, off the last investor round that they're trying to right now get valuation in and around 100 billion. I thought Sam Altman wanted 7 trillion for something. That would be interesting if and when that gets raised.
Someone slapped him and now he realizes he's being ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that was probably the case. Okay, so just quickly, we're back into the TQQs now. I mean, this is going to be kind of Microsoft related. I mean, if the market falls down, it's going to have to fall together. I think there's a lot of names that are underneath right now, like Microsoft and Apple and things like that are a little under the weather. So we'll go short here on the TQs. And it's not, on a 5-minute chart here, we can, actually, let me see, if I change this to a 5, what does it do for everything else? All right, so this is kind of what I'm looking at. You're right here at the 50-period moving average right now. So it looks like we may get, again, right? Like there it is there. We haven't broken it. So this trade may take a couple minutes to develop, may take a half hour. If we had this from this morning at 11 o'clock, sure, you would have been able to have this short. We've been short. Everything's been great. But we've been getting out every time. If we just watch this 50-period moving average and or VWAP, which is up here at 63, I just don't want to drift it into 63. That's my whole thing. So we're going to get it at 40s if it breaks. So let me just go back to a 1-minute chart quickly right now just to show you. So we're back into the short right now. And then there it is right here. That's 40. So we've already kind of whipped up here before. That was just at the 200. Now we're above it. So I say this is like a trend-changing mechanism. We should almost be thinking about long, actually, instead of short right now. Maybe I can convince myself to get out of that one. And I was thinking about short. I think I may be a little bit biased here. We're not going to take many shares because we're short the other names now with AMD and Google. So it's kind of like hoping that works out maybe is why we're in this. But the main reason, again, just to justify that, is those moves, and then we're still underneath VWAP. So I thought if the trend would be going this way, I'd prefer everything. Every time we're under VWAP, I do prefer the short. So right now, that's what I'm going to go with. I don't know. That's only 15s. So like I guess a 15 out gives us like 1-to-1. So maybe we'll think about taking out 25% or so there. And then if we ever get the 200 period, I think that would be a good get as well, 67.05. But we're 10 cents away from just getting stopped out of this one. This is a try right now and just see if some of that logic makes a little bit of sense here. As we come into these levels, let it drift around. And then, again, like I was saying, Apple, like it looks like Nvidia wants to test lower. We're both short AMD, so I think that's right. Apple underneath the 50, underneath, looking to still continue that trend lower. Neil just went over Microsoft. And then Nvidia doesn't want to get above 118.50. So I know we're above everything else, but we're still underneath VWAP, and I think that's important for today. So that's 119. Let's see if it wants to work right now. The Qs are in the money, but
now we're starting to come up waiting a little bit. It's like you're in the same range here. So looking for something weak. If Microsoft isn't going to break down, I do want to find something else. I'm trying to reload AMD. If we can get AMD back up at the 80 area, I'll try and reload that. But I'm looking up at Microsoft. Ask myself if I want to take a 413. Tesla still seems strong. GameStop just pulled back, so I don't really see Tesla at a level that I like. It's a little high, but GameStop, I don't want to say a hefty pullback, but $23.50 to $23. But that's a couple of percentage points in there. So let's let this one settle down. It looks like it's trying to catch a bit of a bid. It did work yesterday to catch like a little bit of a dip into VWAP, but then ultimately, like this is what it gave you. Like it dipped into about 2170, pushed to 22, 2210, and then that's it. Like that's all she wrote. That's all you got, and you had to get out of Dodge. So if that's the same thing that we could be looking at the back end here, you have to be careful where you want to buy it. You need to see it form some kind of a bottom. If it's only going to retrace part of the way instead of say all the way, which is what I would like to see happen. The other thing I was looking at was Microsoft. I see Ari Pages, and maybe not the only person asking about ATPC, which is a runner. At least it was earlier. And now it's trying to go again. I mean, it just picked up on volume a little bit, nowhere near at the open, but it's trying to creep above VWAP. That could get spicy in a couple of minutes if it is able to pick up some volume going into $3. So I'm going to keep an eyeball on that one. But for now, we got the relative weakness in Softy. Yeah, it should be, maybe just should have been a short at 413 instead of trying to wait for a bigger pop. If this is all at once, it's on the way to 412. If it breaks 412, I want to do the flat bottom break short. If we can find a way to get in before it gets there, I think that makes a lot of sense as well. The good news is it doesn't have a wide range. So it only has to go about 30 cents up to get in off of 413 in the first place. Let us know what you guys are watching here in today, because if there's anything else, I see Pathik saying look at Amazon.
Oh,
Amazon is the strongest.
Huge.
It's a big one today.
Yeah.
It's now barcoding off the highs though.
Amazon, we had written on our sticky note for 170. I mean, it's right here. So someone said we should put some of these ideas up. So they're up. We do have our sticky note. They're posted on @TraderTV Sean on Instagram actually, and here, happy Friday, and on Twitter. There it is right there. Amazon 174.20 long break. So we had that one. Weekly levels looking to break. So pretty simple kind of talk right there. And so we took it, right? And then just looking back at it, here's the 20 period chart. There's 174.20. It was right there. Another top right there at 174. So I was just like, you know what? If we could take that, this is the whole week, get back over 175, that was going to be the play. So I liked that trade, and it definitely paid off. And this is what Amazon looked like. We got out right there at 175.40. So again, about $1.20 on that one. NASDAQ now making another move higher here. We just bounced off of 67.20 there for the triple Qs, for the TQQs. So we're pennies away now from getting stopped out at that 67.40 level. Again, 12, 15 cents worth of a hit. I think it's worth it. We already sort of baselined what we were talking about there. We dropped down into a 5-minute chart and just said to ourselves, like, we haven't broke except for now. So right now is when we are finally starting to break this trend. And probably, like I said, look, if we were long, we'd be long at same price. So it'd be 7 cents in the money instead of 7 cents out of the money. So we're not panicking here, but this is
Nvidia's going, AMD's going.
See, they're all starting to go. Okay, so this is going to be a problem. There it is. Why don't we get
just quickly? I'm out of AMD here, and Nvidia is starting to go. So I'm going to quickly show you that we just broke the local high on advanced micro devices, and Nvidia is starting to go in here. It hasn't broken 119 yet. I feel like Nvidia breaking 119 seems better than AMD breaking 147. I'm going to stick with that. I pulled my offer. I don't like where we're at to just sit on the offer of Microsoft in the moment as the market's going up like this. So if 119 goes, we like Nvidia. Tesla, oddly enough, is going down as the market's going up. So Tesla was strong before relatively, and now it's starting to pull back in as the market goes to the high. So that's a little bit strange. Doesn't mean it isn't going to be good at 211. And of course, watch the next thing happen is we don't get to 19 and break out, the market reverses, and we should just stay in short positions.
I mean, that's what we did right now. We did not get stopped out. We came very, very close. I was like, why am I not getting stopped out here? So I went to 42. We were breaking at that 40, the 45 levels right here. So it was actually that level. We're just going to wait. So I just took off right now. We just took off that quarter as it came back in. We got 32s. So we take a 4-cent hit on 25% of this position because, as Neil said, man, when we break, we break. We already got out right there at that same level. We didn't make the mistake again. So we're going to go a little bit higher there, breaking through 50s in order to control that trade. So now it's come back in. We are good. That's why stops are just like infinitely one of the most important things. Take profit spots and stops. Because sometimes the stock will get right to your level. You don't have an out there, and you'll look back and be like, oh, man, I should have been bidding there, or why didn't I get more shares short or long, or why didn't I punch out at that level? So you got to be very, very careful. And it's just like all of a sudden this trade is now a winner. Let's see if it stays there. But 2 more pennies and it's a loser, right? So it's like sometimes this is what trading is, man, and this is why. Oh, shoot. See right there, I just took a 23, and I almost had I took a 23 because I just bid it. I was like, oh man, this is a lucky trade. And then I canceled my 22s there, and it looks like the 22 would have been a good fill. So, all right, hopefully we do pull back in now. I mean, that's kind of that blowout that we were looking for. We still stay short. I saw Neil got out, which is probably good. We still stayed short there. It did not break view up, but darn, it came pretty close right there to do that. So 147, watch out for that break. We were a little bit higher than that. So we got like at 147.10s. If that does break, we'll get out of AMD. But right now we held on to the short, and I just consider that one a lucky one. We did get out just before that short kind of popped a little bit. Google's not doing anything, and I wish I could show you a chart where we were very aggressive one way or the other, but we're not. I went short Google again, thinking that it is at VWAP, which is right where it's at. It's underneath the 200, and it's been a pretty weak name, Google, right? So we'll stay short this one. Kind of thankfully get a couple fills down there at 24s, 25s there on the TQQs, giving us an amazing 5 cents. So 4-cent hit, 5-cent win. So right now we're flat on this trade, and let's see if we wind up going one way or the other. But this is what trading is, I think, on a slow Friday, as we've just had the Super Bowl of earnings, I feel like. A lot of people getting that hangover right now.
People are preparing for their fantasy drafts. Well, what's interesting, there's a buddy of mine. So
it'll be easy.
First off, when Microsoft actually held that little, it's a mini double top at 413.25. When it held that, I then got in on the way back down. I was offering here on Microsoft, cancel it when the market was going up. When it didn't break out the local high, I got back in. I got into it, so I let it see what happens. If it gets there, if it breaks, don't do anything. If it doesn't break, just try to get into the short. That's what I'm doing on Softy, just a little bit weaker. It's trying to go red to green at this price, so I mean, it closed at 413.12, so it makes some sense that you're having a dance here. And if it breaks up, you can get out. If it breaks down, then it wants to be red on the day. But so I have a buddy who watches the show, and he's always asking advice, like what's this stock doing or that stock doing. All he's asked about today is some draft that he's in. He's not even a fantasy football guy. He doesn't even care what's going on in the markets. And if there's lighter volume, you want to be picky with the things that you're trading. You can either there's two ways you can play. You can go tighter stops, you can go smaller size, you can be picky with your orders. That's 3 ways actually. And the other thing you can do is try to be in names that are moving if you can find a way in. So now you're getting a bit of there's a better entry point, I think, for GameStop. I was waiting for it to calm down and get to a level where I think we can look for a bid. So let's go over to the desk with Adara, and I'm going to try some Jimmy.
Be aware of this Novavax here. This one kind of moving around a little bit, getting that nice initial pop after saying, according to Reuters, that the FDA has authorized its updated COVID-19 vaccine, apparently for the currently circulating variants. Also, we're noting FDA now apparently is saying that this updated vaccine is authorized for use for people of 12 years of age and over. So let you guys know if there's anything else with this, but just be aware, Novavax on the move with that catalyst, guys.
This is the thing, we still move on COVID news? That's amazing.
All right, Shubha Financial wants to talk about ServiceNow, a name that we don't talk about too much. Frank Slootman, old company there. I mean, it's at all-time highs, is from what I can see, at 52-week highs at 850. If you have a large position in this one, again, advertising's been pretty strong. We've seen Google, Meta talk about that. I like the business. You're right at these levels. You're above the 50-period moving average. You continue to make new highs right now. Looks very strong. It looks a lot different than all these other names that we keep on looking at being at the highs. I would say stay strong and long on this name. I mean, again, not financial advice, but if I'm going to break this down and just look at it, what this looks like from a chart, we've held this level. It came back in and tested this 810 right there. So nice movement, well bounced off the 50-period moving average. I think if there's going to be a spot that you're worried at, let the 50-period come up just a little bit. Despite like any sort of, I mean, again, when they're reporting could be something that you're factoring in as well if they haven't already. But the 50-period seems pretty good to me. It's been holding since it broke back in late June. So as long as that holds, and you understand I guess there's going to be some wick bottoms here, July, and then I guess that's probably the August 5th. So just be aware that this could get pretty violent, but ServiceNow, I mean, if this is a big position of yours, wow. From 2023, this name back a year and a half ago, well, I guess almost 2 years now, January of 23, you're at $380. You're now at $840.
That's all right.
So almost a three-bagger. I mean, I know it's not, but it's still great movement on ServiceNow. I'd say you stay long, man, until it breaks that 50-period. I mean, look how long it rode this thing up for. This went up from 570 basically until forget about all these little breaks. I mean, even if you got out here, you're happy, 750. But then there's finally a big candle down, which still gets you to 750. So the last time it did this, it went up $200. So right now you're at 740 there. You're up 100. I think there's room to grow in this position. And thank you for Spamming the chat.
Apparently, we do go up on COVID news. So,
a lot.
Yeah. Okay, Novavax. My first thought when I heard that story was like, oh, come on, really? But it's going. And Novavax, the story here, well, I mean, obviously the story is what Adara said, but the story on the stock is that it's a 20% short float and looking like it's trying to squeeze, but I say the same thing every single time. If I'm going to enter what I think is a squeeze play, then I want the stock to be breaking out, not just going back to where there might be a bunch of sellers, which is between $12 and $12.25. Like what happens? News hits, it runs right into that area, and then likely you get a little bit of a pullback, or at least it slows down when you run into those sellers. You need it to get some people out, and then break out that next high, which I think is at 12.25 when looking at that chart. So either it dips in at a reasonable level and consolidates, or you find something breaking out the high on Novavax, which is looking pretty good. So GameStop did make a bit of a bid, higher low, then it broke 23s. I'm looking for it to get back into the quarters. GameStop, there's no catalyst that I'm aware of here. They report on the 10th, so that's 2 weeks. That's not even next week.
No.
But yeah, so that's not even for a couple of weeks. So it's going 2 weeks before earnings for reasons unknown. And it's still underneath. The only thing I don't love is it's underneath this support now, but it's trying to go. If it can pick up above 23.10, I think it can accelerate. That's why I'm kind of offering above the previous high, because I feel like if it fails here, whatever, it breaks 80s. But if it's going to go, it should, in theory, break through that high again and then confirm that it's actually going to be strong. Hopefully, the fact that NVAX is going isn't going to, the pooch, because a lot of times there's only one flyer that's going to go at a time on a day like today. And if all the interest is going into Novavax, I don't like my chances in GameStop. But for now, GameStop looking okay there. And what else is looking? I mean, the market's still in basically the same spot. Nvidia still hasn't broken 119. I mean, look at it. It's trying to go. Very, very slowly, Nvidia is trying to go. Should have just punched long Novavax. I think on a day like today, if you can get on a news move early enough, it's probably worth the shot. But you had to hit that right as Adara was bringing it. If you were skeptical, my first thing in my mind was like, whatever, it's probably a fade. But no, that was a good buying opportunity there in Novavax, it turns out. But I'm not going to chase it, as I said.
We are getting closer and closer to VWAP here on the futures. We just took another little fill there on the TQQs because we've been just getting in and out of it. Again, we were able to take advantage of that dip down. We sort of talked about that. Then we got another short. Remember, VWAP is right here. And we're getting close to getting stopped out anyways. I'm not even going to hold it all the way to VWAP, although it's close enough. It's 50s. I just don't want to hold it to 65, which is where that is, and the 200 period. So we're going to get out of that if it does happen. Questions about why I'm short Google. I mean, this is a really good stock for me today, honestly, and I just put it on right now. So, yeah, it's been good. We'll hold it till it's not, and that looks like a break right in and around there. 50s. That short is 60. I think we're getting it up to there, 65 there for Google. And again, look where we're short. We've been taking some good profit on it. So I think we just stick with a name that we've been confident with and trading quite well there today is Google. So we'll stay in it. Again, if it breaks higher, We're not going to average into that. We've already averaged into the futures. And right now, I thought we'd head to the low side. But you know what? We sort of figured out that we're going to be in a little bit of trouble in this one. So it's not going to wind up costing us a bunch. But there it goes right now. Back into VWAP. There goes the futures. Oh, there goes Google. Sorry, there goes the TQQs. No. Still a very positive name for us, but definitely messing around with these same levels right now in a slow market. Not gonna pay off. Bitcoin just recovered. Did it say? Yeah. Oh yeah, 59.2. Okay. Maybe back over tomorrow at some point. But for now, let's go over to Adara.
So news on GameStop. We had this catalyst yesterday, but just to kind of remember here to refresh that, this coming on Wednesday night that apparently GameStop, according to filings, has issued a notice to terminate its $250 million credit facility as of, again, August 27th here. So now they're saying that their principal source of liquidity is going to be cash from operations and cash on hand. Also seeing some notice here of bullish call option, so decent call option volume here for GME. And as always with GME, when it's running, a lot of social media attention for this game. We're talking at least 10 tweets per minute here when I'm seeing tagged. So GME, that's kind of just a refresher in terms of what's moving this name today, guys.
For other names, like that might not be that big of a story. Hey, our operations are going to get funded by cash on hand. Like, okay, so you're a business then that doesn't need debt. For GameStop, that might actually be a little something. But I feel like, I don't know, there's a trade is a trade. There's always like the skeptical part of me that, okay, it's running going into earnings. And how many times have we seen GME do that whole, the pump and the trap and then the bag hold and then rinse and repeat over and over again. So Nvidia finally decided it wanted to try to break. And yeah, it's VWAP. Like, it was accelerating going into it. The second it got to 19, you could just see the tape evaporate. Like, you finally saw some acceleration in the tape. It got to 19, broke it, and then right away, you're just seeing it sort of slowly die in there. It probably needs to get above VWAP to look a little bit better. So I don't think this is a get aggressive until it's above VWAP. Apparently, they must have heard what Adara just said, because GameStop decided to go about 15 pennies. I just got filled out in front of the 23.20 level. If this is going to be like yesterday, remember, in yesterday's trade, when it did the big high and then dipped in, you did not get back to the high of the day. You know, essentially, this is doing a little bit better, but my entry is not as good. So it's, for now, we're at 23.20. I'm going to get an offer in front of 30 as well, and then see how far GameStop wants to go. Maybe it's going to actually rally a little bit better than it did yesterday. It was a decent trade yesterday. Taking out the highs would be a heck of a lot better here on Jimmy, and I think it's going to make some sense to just back away from Nvidia until there's some confirmation of this move. Of course, the second I say that,
I'm going long on Nvidia if it does break.
Like, this is ridiculous.
This is the high rate here.
No, I'm getting in. This is super.
I'm going to go long if it has to break. It did not break that 119.15 yet. That was that last little high. If it does break it, I'm getting in on Nvidia. So I'm glad you sort of brought that up, because that was going to be my next play. And then we're getting out right now on Google. Google's going to be a win, man. We're short at 52s. We just covered a bunch at 42s. So I'm at 39s again. We're going to give, there you see, there's another out at 44. We'll see where it goes now, but we are going to be getting out of Google lighter and lighter and lighter on this one. This is going to be my number 4 stock, which is going to be pretty decent there today. We're still waiting for that Nvidia to take out that top. I mean, you could get into it now. It's all the same. It's just for right here, I'm just going to give it a little bit. There it was right there, 19. I mean, when I looked at it, it was 15. It looks like it might have been, yeah, I mean, that top was 15. So lucky to have basically not got punched in there. But that's the level that we're looking for to put on some decent size. You know, if we're wrong, where are we going to get out? Now, that's really the problem, because if I put on some shares, I don't want to hold this back through. So I might just get out at 19 if it breaks.
My out's at 90s every time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I like the 90s because this morning 90s was the other way. So the wick tops were 90, wick top 9. I'm talking 118.90, 118.90, 118.90. So if it's underneath there, that's where it's been dumping. So I want to take the shots at that range. Try to be long 19s and then out in front of 18.90. So hopefully that makes some sense. If it fails VWAP, I mean, I should be thinking short, but I keep coming back to the one that I like short, which is AMD. But it's like, no, AMD is above VWAP and stronger. And that leads me to either Micron or ARM. But like, I like Micron short, but what the heck? It's at the low of the day. I don't like short at the low of the day. At the end of the day, the other opportunity could be potentially ARM for a short. It's got a very defined resistance level. And as I say that, always double check to make sure we have free shorts on ARM, because it's not. There we go. We have free shorts on ARM. Yeah. You know, it's been hit or miss. I feel like the last couple of weeks we've had those free locates on ARM, but you don't always have them. So again, that 90, it's trying to hold. You're seeing a battle being waged here. The difference now is subtle. There's just a little more volume, but it's still winning to the sell side. But there's a little more volume on that last break on Nvidia. Just going to double check a little back over here. Right, we're still sitting at 28. On GameStop, if it does retest that high of the day, I'd like to see how we react to the high of the day and try and hold into it. But Jimmy's starting to go another time here. David Clark saying Amazon needs to slow down. Why? Let it fly.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that Amazon trade.
Yeah, let it go.
That's one that
let it go.
We bought that on those crazy. I think it was earnings. It went down in the 160s.
Earnings dip.
It looks like Nvidia is at that bottom. I feel lucky that we didn't get taken in there, because we were waiting for that break, and it just lucky that didn't happen to us. But we are going to wait here at 25s. So that's that's 30s now, where the 50-period moving average is. If Google wants to come in, that's fine. Let's just watch that. Let's have a Google watch party, although it's not doing anything. That doesn't sound like that's very exciting at all. So we'll pass on that one. I did want to show you another name that was going to be, well, the TQs is my #1 stock, but it was Intel for a while until we attacked the futures. And that's because of this move right here, 21.25. We get the pullback into VWAP early, and we know if there's stocks that we like that are at VWAP, those are stocks that we like to take. So it pulls back in. It had a great run. It almost broke our top of 21.75, which is what we wrote down initially. So we're right here right now. That's on the sticky note, 21.75. So that was good. That turned out to basically be the top. So when it came back in, we first got hit. I mean, we could show you what we did here on Intel. We first wind up getting hit there. Well, it might be hard to see, but we get, forget it. We get hit, stopped out, see that wick, go back in, and the next thing you know, it's all the way up, and now it's our PL #2. So I really like this stock. It was our #1 for a while. Our best out are $22, now trying to fade underneath again. So we'll wait to see what's going on with that. But that's Intel. I'm going to leave that alone. We already know what we're talking about, and it's going to be the Nvidia story. And I'm just waiting for it to come back up. It looks like it does hold that. So that's going to be really good that winds up holding. We're out of the futures. It looks like everything wants to start to go up higher. There's the VWAP break finally right there for the futures. So good on you, futures. Apple probably going as well.
Apple?
Yeah, not really. Right up to the 50 period. So that could also be a decent short. But now that we're above VWAP or at least near it, I don't want any part of that one.
Well, the market may be going up, but Nvidia did not. It just got through that 90 level. It's not a New Zealand stock. So it's still trying to battle, but you're seeing it lose the battle at 19. So it tried to break. The volume was starting to pick up here. It was starting to look a little bit better. Like there's all the volume battling in, and this is when it tried to break out. Volume dies down, and it loses the bid. What probably has to happen is you need to see some volume continue through when it's above that 19 level. It's just essentially drying up. It looked a little bit better on the tape for like a hot minute, and then ultimately ended up failing. So frustration, but it probably just needs to get over VWAP. It's going to have to wait for it to try to do that. GameStop had a seller that popped in right around, I was sitting at 27. It got up there, and then immediately, like someone just kind of popped an order, and it kind of flashed down like, oh, let me offer in front. And I got filled. It bought it right back up, but there was a bit of a seller there at 27 that kind of stacked some orders up. It went down 5 cents. It wasn't a tank or anything. It just kind of reacted to that order by about 5 cents and then kind of pushed back up. And I just got out there instead of 4 cents higher. So right now it is trying to go. Novavax is pulling into VWAP, but it's not looking nearly as strong as it was when it was making the breakout on news. So I don't know how good that's going to look. It's trying to go. The volume's really starting to taper off here. I'd say GameStop looks better than Novavax at this point. So we're going to stick with that. I don't think this dip buy is looking as good as it did a second ago.
I was wondering what's going to be a better trade, like waiting for the Nvidia break long. Like I was thinking about shorting these Qs again right here at the 200 period because it's been good. VWAP also been good. That's where we are right now. We got stopped out because we didn't want to wait for VWAP, and it's kind of a good thing we didn't because it did go to 67. So getting stopped out at 51s was definitely a good choice there. But again, it does respect that level. So I was debating going right there. But as you can see, I know Neil's in and out of that trade, which is nice because now it's dropping even further. So Nvidia, look at that. Oh, that's frustrating because we're in Google and Google's getting back in right now, hopefully a little bit. That's at the 200, VWAP as well, and not acting the way Nvidia is. It's actually trying to stay higher. We're hoping that that can fall back in as we are flat on the last 10% of this Google trade. We'll have to wait to see if it goes. And then Apple as well. We just talked about that. That's kind of the same thing. What we talked about today was also PayPal. There's Apple. Almost like it's frozen in time. It hasn't moved much since we last looked at it. We talked about PayPal today getting to 52-week highs. I thought it was 52-week highs anyways. It was 74. We wrote down on here. And we said break 74. Or we said 74 long if it breaks. But again, what we have to do is sometimes flip our brain upside down, which is sometimes okay. And notice that it once again topped out there. It topped out there yesterday. Right off the open is the highest it got, 73, 77. I thought the market was going to be a little bullish today. I feel like we've been we had PCE come out. We're up 0.6. Market's been doing better than this, but let's see if it continues to go just above VWAP right now. If we get back up here, I don't think it'll happen today, but I think PayPal is definitely something that has to be on everybody's radar. Taking out the highs right there, it is the 52-week high of $74, almost exactly. 73.93 made yesterday, 52-week high. I really like the stock. Any dip opportunities I think can work in this. I haven't seen what Square's been doing. I got to go over to
Bad. I was just looking at.
Is it the opposite?
Well, you were saying that, and I was looking at Square, and it's not. It doesn't look good. So sometimes Block reacts a little bit more. If you're looking at the payment companies, it probably reacts a little bit more to what's going on in crypto in a general sense than PayPal does. But that's a bad looking 2 days for Block because it goes from screaming to the upside to, okay, pulls back, but hey, it actually holds the gap a little bit to immediately failing. And now it's catching a bid, but not much of one. I mean, the market, like at the end of the day, the market's up 0.6%.
Yeah.
And it's been resilient off the bottom. So Square this daily chart's not loading up, but Square in retrospect looks actually pretty weak. And 68 has been a pretty big level for it. So I actually really don't like that. And SoFi, only because we haven't talked about SoFi enough. I'm joking. SoFi is back underneath $8. So thanks, SoFi. You had one job. The only job was to hold $8 on the week so that it could break out $8.50 next week. And you can't break $8.50 if you're under $8, unfortunately. So thank you, SoFi, for this. And this is what just happened at $8. Not a very good day for SoFi today. Boo.
I mean, it could gap over and then.
Nah. What's the catalyst, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We need that catalyst. We talked about the loan provision and all that kind of stuff on student loans, and apparently Kamala Harris is just as friendly to those as Joe Biden. So we'll see. That's what you guys said in the chat the other day. All right, so I've canceled my short on the TQQs. I do think that we are coming into a nice spot here that we could watch out for. I just would rather play the Nvidia break long, I think, breaking VWAP long. I can't really play both. If we're short the NASDAQ and Nvidia breaks, I mean, one's not going to play, I don't think. So we'll wait, see if Nvidia goes. Future's starting to go up. We did cancel that one. We are still short Google, but that's going to come out in a second. Really waiting for Nvidia to go. Let's go over to Adara.
Part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro to start your free trial today.
Okay, well, I mean, this is that TQQ trade. If you guys are short the futures, I know Dan Emmons, maybe Kyle Burdett, there's some traders in here that look at futures trading, of course. You're right at the 200 period. I like it. You're at here on the futures as well with the 50 period moving average. But the thing is that heading into a Friday, into the close, when I think Nvidia still has juice to it, I'm not going to short it, but I don't hate this kind of a level right here, right now. So that would be something to look at. The 200 period is up here at 68.50. So I think that if you were going to hold for a longer period, maybe that sort of high of the day up there is something to watch out for. And that could be where the trade eventually comes in. So we had just canceled it. We were at 67.78 or whatever the 200 period is. So we could have been short already, out 5 cents. But here comes Nvidia right here, right now. Let's see if it wants to work. Breaking through now 119. We're going to still wait for that 15. That was the top last time. Hopefully that's not the top, but there it is. We are now in. So let's set our stop right back into that right now. Hopefully it can fly a little bit, but we'll set the stop little aggressively, get out of half if it breaks back down below.
Yeah, maybe it'll go this time because last couple of times it hasn't, so I don't want to go 0 for 3 on it, but in baseball, whoops, I'm still on GameStop. It happens. Like I
wish you
thought,
could get paid in trading the way you do in baseball. Like all you have to do is bat 300.
You don't have to bat 300. Have you seen?
Oh, no, that's true. Yeah, you can bat 150.
What's his name?
There
was a dude on
batting these days.
No, it's the guy on Philly, Kyle Schwarber.
Oh wow, yeah.
Last year hit a $199.
He can hit the ball 450 yards.
And he hit like 46 bombs. So he led the league in home runs. He was a leadoff, and Philly obviously had a fantastic year. He hit a $199. I don't know how much he's making, but if you lead the league in bombs, he's probably making, let's just throw out a number, let's say $22 million a year.
Yeah.
I don't know what his contract is, but he hits for power, so it does work out for him. This time, it better be the charm. I was going to say something else. I was asked if I'm a supporter of the AMC and GameStop community. I mean, I don't necessarily know what that means. Like, I'm not against anybody making money. I absolutely love what happened in a general sense with GameStop the first time around, where it was when it was a bunch of intelligent people on Reddit coming up with a very smart thesis that a lot of seasoned traders, that a lot of people never thought of, and then it worked. I'm like, that was super cool. But at the other end of it, I don't believe in the whole, hey, it's never going down, never sell, hold forever. Like I don't really, because I don't understand that notion. The whole point should be to make money if you're in GameStop or AMC. When GameStop was going mean crazy, believe me, we were all looking for longs. When I got bamboozled as a day trade by that last Roaring Kitty thing, I remember we were looking long that whole morning. And it was probably, if you were biased to the short side that day, the second they delayed that cast was the easiest shorting opportunity you could imagine. But I wasn't looking short, I was holding along into it. And so I got stopped out, and I know it was probably my biggest loser that week, I think, was GameStop that day. It's probably true. I want to say it was definitely my biggest loser on the day. I think it was even on the week. So in a general sense, yes, but I don't buy into the whole you only go long, hold on forever kind of deal. Because I think every trade, you have to have some kind of an out. You know? And you got to take profit somewhere. Yeah. Otherwise, forget about it. And it does not hold on to 119. So you know what? I'm getting out of this thing. You can get Nvidia because it's not working for me. And I got like a 3-strike rule on this break. Usually, I want it consolidating over VWAP. The market broke the top, and I want to see this do better than it's doing. Jimmy's not really doing a heck of a lot. It's still in the same range. I don't see myself reloading it. I was just talking about, it was in Nvidia. That's why I had the chart up while I was talking about GameStop, so show you that I got out. But Jimmy's starting to slow down. This feels a lot like what happened yesterday. And what happened yesterday, and if you were watching, if you didn't take profit on the bounce that you were given, then what you were left with was eventually it breaking down through VWAP. So this is where it dipped into. That's the long given. I feel like it might be it, and it doesn't want to take the top. So I'm going to trail it underneath here at 15s. And if it goes higher, great. If we lose 23.15, then I'm just going to jump out of the trade. Still have a while to go, but when a stock hits the highs and can't break said highs, I get a little bit skeptical. And that's what seems to be happening. And the volume's really dwindling as well. I don't like decreasing volume at this time either. So unfortunately, we'll step away from that. While all this was happening, Tesla broke the high. I'm glad I didn't take that break because I would have had the same fate. Only this is much deeper of a pullback after that fail break of 212. That's a bit of a deep pullback here on Tesla. And Michelle, hey Bear, good point. Volume on GameStop is way stronger than yesterday. I do agree with that sentiment, but it's also Friday. So I like bagging profit on a Friday if you can. I'm just trailing it. I want to give it to the high of the day, but I'm going to put the trail in. I can always buy the dip again if I need to.
All right, so we got it at half on that breakthrough, 119. Unfortunately, I put my next stop and put the wrong price. I got punched out, so I just punched straight back in. We're out of half, so we've failed on that one. We lost 15 cents, 16 cents, actually 18 cents. We got 98, so we lose 18 cents on half of that trade. To lose 18 cents on Nvidia for me is fine. I actually want to punch long again. I have not learned my lesson. I feel like we could still continue to get higher. These are just little cuts compared to, I think we can get to 120 and then we'll have a decision to make at that point, and see if we can get going a little bit. It could be the complete opposite. I took what Obi said earlier about that 117.50 area, trying to hold that. 116.50 was the bottom. And that seemed to be a little bit of an area from yesterday. And then today, there's that bottom we talked about, 117.50, which kind of matches there. Obviously, I'm not holding this anywhere down there. I was just sort of getting out of that maybe there was a bottom that was somewhat made. Yesterday, opened up a lot higher today, 121, 122 after closing 117, 118. So a nice run there today, comes right back into that area. Maybe we run back again. Remember, the market opened Tuesday. We are not here on Monday, so stay tuned.
That is
for more of that. But here we go, right back there to the upside. So if this just comes back, so we've already lost 15 cents or 18 cents on this. So in order for this trade to actually win, it has to get above that 119.30 area, because we've lost already 15 cents on the first push. So now, although it shows us in a better price, we're not. We're still in the same trade because we got taken out of it all, and then I punched back in because it was a mistake. We only wanted to get out of half.
I just
So
heard
it's not like
about
it's
Goldman.
paying out for us right now.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, Goldman Sachs is.
Yeah, it's just some job
There used
cuts.
to be people that said Goldman sucks and all that stuff. I mean, suck on this basically. Look where this stock is right now. I mean, this up. Yeah, like look
no,
at
I mean, in
US
general
banks.
sense. No, I didn't know the price, so I just set up.
Like compare this. I remember when I was buying this, I was sort of debating between Morgan or Goldman and all this kind of stuff. I mean, this stock is just absolutely on fire here. If you just go back to where we were at the beginning of the year for Morgan Stanley, or sorry, for Goldman, you're at 380, 390, in and around here, right? This is the first month. Now you're at 510 right now and getting up there. Of course, it's $100 stock as opposed to Wells Fargo and Bank of America. The returns may be similar, but it just looks ridiculous on a chart, and you're at the highs again. And the other name, I think the other bank that would compare somewhat to it, and I'm not sure if it's as aggressive, and it might be even more aggressive, is JP Morgan, because that name is, again, like, wow. Talk about, yeah, I guess similar, right? From 170 beginning of the year up to 225 right now, and looking to go a little bit higher. All right, Nvidia, let's see if we can make at least make a little bit of this money back here in the afternoon. We'll find out in a couple minutes where that goes, but it's 3 o'clock. I thought it was supposed to go to Adara. I don't see her anywhere. Oh, campus promo. Okay. Well, hey, if you are excited about trading and excited to go back into some school-type environments, then Real Trading at Campus program is for you. realtrading.com/campus or /. That's /, right? Or is that a backslash? What is that one, Ramin? What do they call that one up there? // Yeah, right. Very good. She does not know either. Link in description. Trade real money, gain real experience at the end of the day. You can apply now. Trade on our platforms. Use these same stop orders that Neil and I talk about. Trade these same opportunities. I mean, we have futures, we have cryptocurrencies on this platform, but you will actually have a curated platform and structure to go through. You'll be on certain gateways, certain stocks while you learn. It's a market introduction. So you'll get kicked off with some very basic kind of symbols and whatnot to learn how to trade. I don't know the curated list, but there is one. You get that in, a couple of exams, 3 or 4 days of learning about the market. Get into the platform, understand everything that we're doing here. Like I said, order execution, stop orders, risk management, all that kind of stuff. Then get into the goals, right? This is where we start looking at different stocks, what needs to be made, how many positive trades in a week are you looking for, what ratios are you looking for. Ooh, I might have to enter this campus. I want one of these. Oops, campus, what did I do there?
You get a certificate?
Campus program certificate on completion. So something I do not have, I want to go get that. Live trading, earn real money, one-on-one group coaching. It's great. It's done by the guys over here at Real Trading, and you'll be pleased to know that Brankles and Wayne will be helping you guys out as well. So make sure that if you are a Canadian resident, that you get on that ASAP. Link in description, realtrading.com/campus. So is at 15?
I want a certificate.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't even know there was one. Now I'm...
Or like a Real Trading bomber
that,
jacket or something.
Kind of like that FOMO about the certificate.
How come, you know what's interesting, and I'm not just going to say this out loud and then maybe it'll actually happen.
Yeah, sure. Probably.
No, like why don't, like, I mean, obviously, you know, we've been with Real Trading for a hot minute now. Nice leather jacket. You see Sharif with his Jensen leather jacket.
Remember
but
that,
I mean,
that was
imagine a Real Trading leather jacket.
Yes.
That'd be sweet.
Yes.
I used to have a leather jacket somewhere, and I have no idea. It's probably in the basement somewhere, gathering like moss or something. But I'd love to have a Real Trade.
If you have a leather jacket, you're going to get canceled, my guy. Do not wear a leather jacket.
Why can't I wear a leather jacket?
I mean, it's you know, we talked about this today. We have right now, no, environment. You know, people don't want leather. You know.
Oh, really? You're not supposed to?
You're kind of not supposed to.
Oh, my bad.
Look, I mean, I'm not saying I believe in that. But outside right now, there's like right here, the X. I was talking about this. It's like, we have to use paper straws and all this kind of stuff now. And I just look up, and all I see is like tons of planes flying around right there. And we give all these, hypocrites. That's a very, very good word right there as you go. But hey, if it's for enjoyment, screw the environment, right? So I do not believe that. But,
like I'm pretty sure fighter jets are not very environmentally.
That's what I'm saying. The jet fuel and all.
And I have no problem with it. I love the air shows. First of all, I love that.
To work every day, lands it on the roof here.
You have the internal consistency matters.
In her leather jacket, yeah. And her plastic straw she has.
You should see like
Come on, Ramin, man.
She literally has like a pimp
here.
like cloak that she has over there. You know what? How about this? I'm going to steal it for the opening. Maybe I'll just wear it for like the first few minutes of the aftermarket show.
What, her shawl or whatever it is?
Whatever that is. I throw it on. I'm going to look like Big Daddy Kane or something. I don't know. Or Buck Nasty from the Chappelle Show. Or trust me, it's going to look hilarious. But
I think she's going to be getting it for you. So.
She's got style. I won't be stylish in it. But Michelle Hebert, I said where my trail was going to be. I just got out. There it is. It's right there. This is the thing.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is like a pimp coat.
It's a pimp coat. It's like
that is a pimp coat.
Right?
Yeah,
that's what I call it.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what people would say if I put it on.
Why is that?
I'm just being real. It is what it is. Okay. I have always wanted for Halloween, and I obviously can't do it this year, to be. Now I can't remember his name. The dude from I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, with the fish bowls. He has the platform shoes. What's the guy's name again from I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker?
That's something Jackson.
He was Pimp of the Year. What the heck was that character's name again? But the fish bowls in the platforms, I've always wanted to do that for Halloween. I wouldn't put real fish in there. I think that's probably not that humane, because I love doing real stuff for Halloween. Like, just have some real fun with it. Although my daughter's all into like family, like something we can all dress up as together.
Right.
And then we have a theme.
Let me guess, clearly Incredibles or something like that.
Yeah, me doing a pimp, exactly. Probably we can't really work that in anyhow. I don't want to spoil what we're doing this year, because I don't know what we're going to do.
Okay.
And if we do something, actually, no, we're not going to do this. She wants to go out as, it's like the Tim Burton Halloween, but the Christmas one. It's like the...
Oh, yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas. So she wants us as a theme of that.
That's a pretty popular one, for sure.
We're going to pick some of those up. We haven't decided what we're doing, so you guys got to let us know. What do you want us to do for Halloween? Because every single year, Sean and I do it for real. Like, we do it up. Like, we'll get a
legit
costume.
Last year was the Bitcoin guy, and then we did that. We have to do something. Remember we had that idea that we want to get going with Brendan. I think we can revisit some
Well, I was thinking, because that was like the Ghostbusters we could do, but I don't know.
Don't
Superfly was the guy.
Right.
Superfly.
Don't tease or give away anything here.
Well, we haven't decided yet.
I don't think Ghostbusters is out of the question. I don't think. It's something like that.
We could, I could be Superfly, you could be Jack Spade, and we could do I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Yep, we could definitely.
Or technically speaking, you should be Mr. Big.
I think we should get Obi.
Gotta keep it real.
Well. I think Obi would be hilarious.
No, Obi could be one of the like the Marlon Wayans, and then who was the other? No, Damon Wayans and the guy from different world.
What was the guy named Tommy something? Tommy Davidson?
It wasn't him. David Allen Greer was in I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Okay, yeah. Tommy Davidson was not in that one? Okay. No.
So I'm gonna get back into GameStop at 23. And at 23, after 23 bounced, I'm going to get into it, which I just got filled. So you see I'm in at 08s. It just made a higher low and looking pretty good. And we're supposed to go to the desk with Adara.
Watch out here for Goldman Sachs GS. Bit of a move down here in the 5-minute chart. We do have Wall Street Journal reporting that the company is doing some cuts here, about 3% to 4% of its workforce, over 1,300 job cuts here. They also said that layoffs are part of their annual review process, but they've kind of changed that aspect of the process. So a bit of a different yearly overview here, and some job cuts being reported by Wall Street Journal for Goldman Sachs, guys.
Goldman Sachs again. There's that Goldman Sachs guy. All right, people still talking a little bit about
Hold my beer? Absolutely not. That's not happening.
I was looking right here. Nvidia's almost near the closing spot again for us. We've been going long here, getting some out as it's popped back up, but it looks like it's going to break one more time. We tried it. We thought view up would be right. We've clearly outsmarted ourselves once again, because the NASDAQ is still hovering here, really not doing anything, and Nvidia is going down. So looks like we'll have the wrong sort of feels about Nvidia trying to help this market to get back going. It's going on its own. Has nothing to do with this name. This name's now, I'm disappointed. Like, I thought we could take view up and go for a little run here in Power Hour. I'll be here for this every time. Like, I think that was a decent idea. We've seen Nvidia put a lot of money in our pockets when this stock starts to run. It just is not running now.
You guys are terrible.
Nvidia just not making. Yeah, here it goes.
I hate Nvidia.
I'm getting out if it breaks through 69 here, obviously. So that's going to be my out right now. That's been the low. If it goes, there it goes. It's gone. So wrong call clearly on NVDA there. I thought it had a chance, and it does not. So bye-bye Nvidia to the downside. We probably just got stopped out at the bottom, but it's not following the thesis that I thought with it trying to get back upside. So pass on that one.
And bye-bye Nvidia.
Pass on that grass.
So thank you all in the chat for your wonderful Halloween costume ideas. And for those of you that aren't in the chat, and if you want to give us ideas out there, I'm going to try and hold it together because some of them were interesting. It's a subscribers-only chat. So hit that like, hit that subscribe if you enjoy the show every day, like we do enjoy giving it to you guys. And at the end of the day, if you want to communicate with us, ask us questions, or communicate within the community, you want to be a subscriber so that you can do that. It's free to do so. It takes a click. And then you can jump in there and come up with some nonsense. Like people saying that someone said Biden and Kamala, and all I said was I stand with Cat Williams. No, not going to happen. I'm just saying.
Well, you don't want to be Biden or what?
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Sean. Yeah. Y'all know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Ain't gonna happen, man. I'm not judging anybody, but it ain't gonna happen. No, we'll do just about anything for fun. I don't take myself that seriously, but that's not gonna happen. There's all the good ones.
When is the election? November 7th or like that?
I have no idea.
After Halloween. I mean, very, very.
Is that when you guys do it in November? I said Beavis and Butthead would be fun. I mean, that's old school like we are, but
Beavis and Butthead.
We got to think about what it should be. I like Blade. I like a lot of these examples, but it has to be something we can do as a team. So Blade doesn't really, I don't know, because there's only one character people know from Blade, which doesn't necessarily work.
There's going to be some ideas. I don't want everybody to.
I love Blade too.
Lethal Weapon. Yeah, see, Lethal Weapon would be a good one. There's
that's
been
I'm way too much like Danny Glover in that movie sometimes. I'm too old for this, Riggs.
Blade is a cool movie for sure. Okay, I'm still looking for some more ideas, but I feel like I don't even want to look too much at Microsoft. You know, we've actually traded well this week and over the last little while for sure has been Meta. I mean, Meta's been a great stock to trade. We had that $20 winner, we had a $10 winner. We're not going to expect any kind of movement like that right now. And as I look at this chart, it's not. Again, I try to look at a little bit of a higher time frame. Although right now in 311, like there's only 40 minutes left. Obviously, that Nvidia short was the best. Yeah. It came right up into VWAP and almost on any other day, you know, still under the 200. It was a small hit, but don't like it because it was one of our ideas that we thought it could go there. Intel's not doing anything. The SOX L, we could look at SOX L maybe, but then feel like that's just going to do what the index is doing, what Nvidia is doing. The Qs are still at VWAP, and that's a TQQ trade that we sort of talked about there as well. Getting short. This trade's been, this is my best trade, but this could be it right here too. But then you're just thinking about short as you're trying to bounce back up, maybe above VWAP. If we could break VWAP, then I could see this as being something. So the TQQs, that could be a trade, then use the 200 and use these outs as our top, instead of just averaging in all the way until it eventually breaks, play momentum back down. But again, what might look like momentum now is just a head shake and back in again.
Yeah, so a lot of head fakes here.
Like there goes Nvidia. Nvidia's 1850. So like to get out where we did at 80s and things like that, I mean, it's been working.
Head fakes. GameStop bounced off 23, only to get right back to 23.20 and then fail 23. That is a legit wick. Like it saw 20 on the offer, it filled 18s, it dumped through 23. So I might be done with this stock the way it's. I don't know. It's still making higher lows, but you're also making lower highs. And the volume's volume better than yesterday. I'll admit that, but not necessarily good enough. So I'm out of GameStop for now. It was a decent. It's like yesterday. It was a decent enough long. 23 to 23, 25 was the best fill. And then kind of again here, 23.08 into 20s, but it just does not hold on to those gains, unfortunately. So GameStop, good long, but it's not great as usual. K-Debs, I haven't seen the Deadpool movie, so don't spoil anything for me. Appreciate it in the chat. I'm sure there's ideas from that, obviously, but yeah, I haven't seen that movie yet, so I don't want any spoilers. I absolutely love Deadpool. I guess it was a VWAP short. What about AMD might be? AMD's at VWAP right now, so that could still be available. Let's see what it does here. If we fail underneath and consolidate, this one could be a short again.
I don't know. 67.90. Like, I'm just wondering if we go bigger shares, like bigger shares for smaller wins. Like right here, we don't have a big position on, but there's that break. So it does break VWAP at 60s, and we get 57s there, 56s, and it goes down to 40. We didn't even take the bid. It happened so fast. 44s there. So it absolutely just boomed in 15 cents, which is more than we lost. Like we had a bigger winner than we actually lost right there. And it just comes right back up in. So we'll we'll watch out for that top right there of 90. Let's just play the angles, or sorry, the ranges right now, and see if we can actually get a move one way or the other. Nvidia did break again, but look where it bounced off the 50 period. So again, VWAP into 50, like that's supposed to be a trade, but we took it the other way and went long. So instead of sitting here and just bleeding into the close, let's just try to wait for something to happen and not try to force something to happen.
It's so weird because usually a stock under VWAP pulling in is an auto short. It is weird.
It's Friday afternoon and in a long weekend with not that much volume. And then we've already had such, there is the end of the month volume contract expiration there for options as well. So there is that. There is going to be some good imbalances at the end of the day for sure. So Palantir is a very strong stock today, up 0.84, and really doesn't look like it wants to give anything back. So if you're thinking about taking out the tops, maybe it's a Palantir today. But again, with only 45 minutes left and 30 minutes until imbalance is 35, what are you going to do with Palantir here? Even the last half hour, it's sort of just gone up from 01s to, actually that's not bad, to 30s. That's actually not that bad. Over the last half hour, or last hour, we can get something in.
It could break consolidation and give you something.
30s.
Apparently, you just go
short to futures.
Just go Novavax long.
Novavax long, huh?
It's back above 12 and it's still going higher. So that actually looks, it's looking pretty solid on Novavax. Is what it is. But if you're in this one, looking a little bit better. Like the difference between that and GameStop is at this point looking distinct. I chose GameStop on the dip. This one, higher lows and now back into the highs. I'm not chasing a high of the day on Novavax. I don't think it's that big news. I know it has squeeze potential and all that good stuff, but I don't want to chase the move. I feel like you had to get it, as we said on the news. Okay, Google's above VWAP. What just happened to AMD? AMD is holding VWAP.
Ooh.
What about Tesla? I'm just scanning through some names here. Hey, Tesla's got a bit of a triple bottom off of the previous high. This looks a little bit more interesting here on Tesla. Don't love the fact that while the market's trending higher, it's pulling back into support. It's held that support. Let's see how it responds. I haven't been watching it. Let's see how it responds underneath 211. If there's decent buying in there, maybe like an 11 long, back up through, and then you throw the stop. This line's at 80s, essentially. That would look somewhat interesting on Tesla here. Just want to see some strength come back into it. What the heck?
All right. Yeah, I'm probably just going to sit in the futures trade here until something else happens. So like we either break that top or we don't. I'm not just going to go back and forth here. We'll sit in this. I'm looking for a little bit of a sell-off here, although we are now above VWAP. Just saw that top, saw that bottom. If we could somehow do something like that again, consider ourselves pretty lucky. But normally you'd say now volume would be trying to pick up here into the close. So we do have a little more now than we had about an hour ago, but still pretty choppy into here like we just tipped out. Now we're coming back in just a little bit right now again as well. So futures kind of just holding fort right here, which is fine. That's completely doable at this point. Mara, 59,000 for Bitcoin we're noticing here. So let's go over.
That could be something.
That could be something, yeah. That's not a bad little level there for sure. But that's Mara right now. Trying to bounce off this level here. So I guess we'll have to look at Bitcoin, but Mara's at the bottoms. So maybe a break there would create something, some sort of an actionable play because you're underneath VWAP, underneath the 50 period, maybe something brewing there for Mara, potentially on that one. So yeah, that's about it for that trade. So that's Mara. Coinbase would be the other name to look at for Bitcoin. And if we're just going to look at Bitcoin, we can quickly do that just to give you guys an idea of what we were talking about. So we're just in this range right here again, right? So there's that top 59.4. It's funny that Mara is near the bottom because it really, Bitcoin's not right now. So that's pretty interesting to see where this flows through right now, Mara and Bitcoin. You know what? I meant to find out what this other thing, because I have the 50, the 200 on here. I don't know what else I have. So I got to figure this out right now with this. But here we go. Bitcoin trying to break a little bit higher through the 50 period moving average. We'll see if that can get going. Mara at the bottom might be a long now that Bitcoin seems like it's holding.
Yeah, but, and now, Tesla's already starting to go. So forget about the fact of retesting 11. The buying stepped in right away at the 20s. I'm not going to get swept up in here. Sometimes when it goes the first time, like when it went through the quarters, and there you can leave a bid in, it might give a quick little false break and you get picked up on this. This is a 3-minute chart, but now you're already running into the high of the day. CompuCare team, can you please check Tesla? I mean, I'd like to be long in front of 211.80, but I was looking for it to kind of hold down. It was looking weak in the moment. And when something is looking weak, especially on the tape in the moment, I thought we would get fills down here. It didn't happen. Now you're bouncing up to the top. I was also asked, would I short Amazon? I think I know what you'd be getting at, and that is typically in the afternoon, I'd be looking at something like this, which is a very steady upward trend. You're at the end of the day, you're at the end of the week, volume is low. The mean reversion trade is usually going to be pretty good risk to reward. On a daily chart, look at the trend line on Amazon. When you zoom it out, trend line on Amazon, it's near the trend top on the daily. So on the 15-minute, you're not really at a resistance spot, so you don't have all three of these charts lining up, but you do have a distinct high that has been wicked like 2, 3, like 4 times, including that local high, and that's a big one right in here on that pre-earning. So I think this is a good area for a pullback, but it would need to break the trend and show me a candle underneath that trend line. You got to indicate weakness if you're going to short something like Amazon, which last I checked was the strongest of the Mag 7, right? I mean, maybe
Amazon?
Yeah, 2.8% and at the high of the day. Tesla's 2.6 and it's close to the high of the day. I want to say Amazon's the strongest one. If you're going to short it, it's got to be the trend break, not just because it's at the high. Show me the trend breakdown, and I'm going to save that so the next time I call up Amazon, you'll still be able to see the trend. But it looks like it's the strongest one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I believe that David's asking for L'Oreal. I think that's an ADR. I don't think it's trading.
L'Oreal?
Why? Was that in the chat,
That's
or
kind
you
of
just
random.
thinking about that? Yeah, I'll find out for that in a minute there. Okay, so we're at our last straw right now, basically. We have 70s right now for the TQQs. So this is the futures. It's in this range. We're out 6 cents. If you don't like the trade, you can get out of it. I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to sit in this range, trying to play the tops and trying to play the bottoms. And honestly, we're pretty much right here right now. Like we played that. The first trade was that VWAP. That actually went down into the 40s. So we could still do that again. But our average price is 70, which is right here. So I'm pretty happy with where the average price is for us right now. I mean, obviously, we'd like it to be 80s because that's where it is right now. But not much we can do about this. If it breaks that 90 level, then I'm just going to get out. This is the futures. This is not like it's going to matter, the TQQ pricing. The futures aren't at their highs. But if it breaks that, then where's the next stop? It's not like an even dollar level. Where we could convince ourselves to say, let's hold this to 68 because maybe there's options or there's big size there. It's not going to matter what levels are there at all come into the close and into right now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this trade will work out. But if you're not down for just waiting for this trade, then I don't know. It's 20 cents one way. I think we can get 60s. So I feel pretty comfortable sitting in here to take this trade, but it's a very uncomfortable position because it's against us 10 cents. So just pay attention to it is all I could say. My stop is in there if we break above, and that will be the end of that trade. And hopefully we don't get wicked out. We got taken out of Nvidia a couple times, and then it stopped at the 50 period. So as Nvidia wants to go higher, obviously the futures will climb with this name. So yeah, it's looking at, wow, I feel like maybe just the wrong spots. Like Nvidia's not doing much. There's a lot of expectations. And the futures right now are just doing their Friday kind of grind higher. So definitely throwing back some money here, just trying to wait for something to happen and thinking that something is going to happen. And right now there's not. I mean, Nvidia an hour ago was at 119, and it's at 119 again.
Like I just drew that trend line on Amazon. Like, okay, if Amazon can break the trend to the downside, that's a little thicker than, oh, that's why. If we could break that trend to the downside, look short, there it goes, back into 20s, and look what happened. It just immediately goes into the upside. So that's not what I was looking for. I was thinking the other thing, like we're not going to break. We're going to stay range bound, and you can try something else, but not going to work. The Piper AMD back to VWAP short, not really thinking it at this point. Didn't find the long, not going to force the short. Like this one was an underneath VWAP. Like I like shorting it on weakness, like lower high end there, kind of failing that level in there, retry that. But now, it's now pretty clearly trending back into the upside. If anything, this seems like it just should have been a long off VWAP, and I can't go back in time. CPDB says CRM crushed. Is it that bad.
Today?
I mean,
It was 55, wasn't
it's not good. I don't think this is crushed. I think it would have to be doing a lot worse than a couple of points down to be crushed. But given the quarter, I don't think it necessarily deserved to lose the 50 period, but doesn't care. It doesn't matter what I think it deserved or not. It is going down. What I would observe on CRM is something like that. Like just kind of look at this. Why did that's interesting. You saw me draw it, then it kind of left. But anyways, so we've made a couple of higher lows in here. So you were rejecting a bit of a trend when it tried to break the top. And then it's going to have a loose trend, which is going to be forming as well. I hate the fact that you're losing the 50-period moving average after earnings, but give it some time to settle down next week, and we will see. So I'm just going to double check back in on Amazon. Still holding the trend. If not, it might be making a new one after bouncing off that even more steep, so we might have to redraw for any kind of mean reversion. GameStop's doing nothing. Novavax, what are you doing, Novavax? Still at the high, no good pullback that I can see. Yeah, I'm not really finding anything that I'm absolutely in love with. It's 325. Casual okay, casual, you're going to have to explain yourself. Oh, no. 5 minutes till the big move. What, in the futures? At the early look on the imbalances in 5 minutes, I don't know if that's going to cause the big move. It's month end, so we should expect bigger imbalances than normal. I think 350 is going to cause a bit of a move, and I want to be ready to react to something like that just because it is the month end. But are you looking at something specifically at 350, or are we just talking about, or 330, you're looking at the early look imbalances? If that's the case, we'll give them to you. We'll be ready for that if we see anything sort of pop off on the imbalance.
I think the logic is that maybe it's options.
Yeah, it's options for sure. I saw someone else say something about 333 in GameStop, and I don't know what specifically about No, literally, I saw in the chat someone said 333 GameStop. I'm like, okay, we'll see. I have GameStop up. I've got Amazon up. I still have Nvidia up, believe it or not. Don't know why I should, because I went over 3 on it long. And Tesla is now broken the high of the day, so I can cancel my bid on Tesla. We're not going to get 211s anytime soon. It's making another run at the high Tesla. It failed it last time. It's trying to push through in here. I think I wait till 330 to see, just to get a look at where the imbalances might lie. And if there's an action off of 330, we'll just react to it instead of trying to put a position on before, which doesn't make a ton of sense. Farm trader, trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro. Yeah, I mean, I do trust. I do trust that there will be a big move. Actually,
I think we're going to get one
on those imbalances. Did you already show the imbalance locator? Because like this. Have you seen this thing here?
I mentioned it and didn't say anything. That was kind of silly. What the heck is going on there?
95 million shares.
Yeah, but is that listed in Brazil?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the symbol?
New holdings? What? I mean, it's already, this has to be a mistake. 84 million and 95 million? So there's 185 million shares?
That's something.
Yeah.
That's not nothing.
Neil, Walmart coming with a bid. Let's see what Walmart's action is right now. And again, these are going to be only NYSE stocks. You can see Walmart starting to tick higher as well. Remember, look at all these buys. A lot of big companies with buys. BAC with a buy. Let's see what that's doing. Okay, come on, Nvidia. All right, I'm going to take an 87 fill here on Nvidia. See if we can get it down in. All right, we're short Nvidia off 119, so we'll see if that wants to work. Again, because the futures ripped us up, so it didn't really, but we lost on it. Pfizer with a bid there, so that's a pretty strong name. Let's just see if that's doing anything into the close. Yes, so nice little move up there on Pfizer. Pfizer's, I think, has been actually pretty dormant down here. We had a huge move up there on the 31.50, which was great because we were talking about Pfizer down here at 25.26, some of those multi-year weak bottoms down there, and then finally got going back up, and now coming through over the last little while. Let me just zoom in a little bit more. They're going to be testing Tesla's. It's actually a funny story just coming through in Bloomberg right now. Tesla going to be testing their robo-taxis in the Warner Brothers studio, apparently. That's what I heard.
Okay.
Is there any new? So did we ever figure out what's going on with this new here?
I was just checking. We get some research. If you're at Real Trading, when you log into the platform, it automatically opens up something called a trader information portal where there's a bunch of reports that you can read, and some of it might have information on index rebalancing and all that stuff. I've not seen anything specifically on NU, but I'm going to make, like I said, I haven't seen anything on NU, but I'm going to make the assumption something's going on with this as to why it would have an early look 95 million imbalance with 84 million paired. Like that's 190 million shares. Oh, sorry, that's 190, just underneath 190 million shares of paired interest early on a name. I understand it's only $14, but that's 3 times the volume today on just the total imbalance. So yeah, I will have NU up on my level 2. I think that just makes some obvious sense. Whether or not there's going to be something coming out big on it, who knows? My goodness, Amazon. Amazon is just continuing to fly. So we're going to see some big numbers today. Bigger than usual when we look at this imbalance locator, everybody. So just be prepared for that. This one really stands out on NU. I got to have that up on a level 2 regardless. So it's 330. All of the big names are probably going to be a little bit lower. It's Walmart, NEO, and NU that stand out to me. Pfizer, not that excited. Amazon is still going higher. Thank goodness we didn't short that.
Market's trying to go, I guess.
Yeah. Where does... come on, Amazon. There we go. Knew it was a New York stock. Amazon continues to go higher. We can stick a fork in that trend line. It ends up holding the trend, not breaking the trend. I was looking for a break of the trend line to go short. It's going higher, so at least no trade, because if you're not going long in Amazon right now, you got nothing to do. And we'll see what happens at the end of the day. Hey, Davis, makes no logical sense for NU to do that. It would have already rocketed if there were real positions sitting there.
Right.
I don't disagree. I'm very skeptical by what's going on. Sometimes what happens is if, like, let's say there's a gigantic intended sell imbalance, you might see an early look buy. And like there's a bunch of people that are like, oh, there's bids that are going to come. We're expecting there's a bunch of sells that are expected to come into it. So people start throwing orders into the buy, knowing they're going to be able to get away with it because there's a big expected sell on the stock. Sometimes that happens, and the early look is a bit of a fugazi. And we've seen that with big numbers before. So all we can do is wait till 350, see what happens, and then react to whatever, whatever's there. Like maybe it does come out as 100 million, but if it comes out as 100 million, how do I not punch long? I don't know. It's a $14 stock. Like, look at this. I mean, you got a double top at the high. It's at VWAP. It comes out 100 million to buy. Like,
that'll be hard to deny.
It's hard not to try it long if it comes out.
I'm going to keep it up on the side. I mean,
you have to almost.
If it does come out a huge buy. And again, it's just like you could probably look it up. There could be an imbalance.
I keep checking.
Not an imbalance, a rotation from in and out of an index, in and out of IWM, for example, the Russell 2000. A new holdings could be going in and something else coming out. But I feel like that's a mistake. But the thing, I don't understand why it would also be paired off. Like if it was a mistake, you think it would be out of there by now. AT&T. So what's a sell then? KMI, STEM, Oracle. Yeah, I mean, so like I don't even see anything of reason that's a sell. NEO's a $4 name, so that's not going to do anything. CLF is also a cheap name. AT&T, unfortunately, I know a lot of us, I don't hold it, but that's been beat up for a minute there as well. The other cells, I don't even know what MPLN is. ZTO, Zuentus or Zuetis there. Pets, I believe, Pet Medicine coming through there. Pet Care. RF, again, Region Financials coming through as a small little cell, $23. And then, yeah, so nothing big. Wells Fargo, I guess, would be maybe the biggest name there on the sell side. We're 20 pennies in the money now on Nvidia, but
it is
we're going to keep quiet on that one for a minute and see what happens there. Come on, Intel. Come on, Nvidia. We're now 30 pennies in. Maybe we should talk about it now.
Okay, so
I'm going to bid 82s and just get a piece out here if we can get it. There it goes on Nvidia. So there it goes. We just shorted that VWAP trade finally. So we're short at 119.10 right now, making back pretty much everything that we lost. But that's okay. We want more. So let's get to the downside right now. We're looking at 50-period moving average now for Nvidia. I know Neil's going to have an update on new. That just went down into their 77. So we just got a whole bunch out. Short and out, out. That little bottom there is 61s. Wow. This is really coming in for us now. Let's put a bid down there at 63, 64. Finally, we had a little bit of a revenge there on Nvidia. And I hate that word revenge, but I feel like a bit on tilt as we talked about that earlier. We just kept on getting frustrated here with this trade. We went long, small hit here. There was not really much going on. But then finally we said, let's just trust a trade that we would have had normally, shorting through VWAP, not trying to think about what the market's going to do. Just take what the market's going to give you. And it gave us that VWAP, so right now Siren's up for this. That's a good one there. Made back a lot of this afternoon just by shorting Nvidia on a trade that we probably should have had in the first place. All right. Did you find?
So I did. It looks like the MSCI NU is being added to the MSCI.
Right there. So that's, yeah.
So it's actually, where's the size on it? It's about, I see 240 million shares, 240 million shares to buy. Right. So if you look at it, I mean, it's saying right now, it's actually about right. Like you're getting an early look of 190 million with 95 to buy, with the expectation that there's, what did I just say, 239. So if it comes out and the open interest is over that, and if it's over 240 on the paired volume or the overall size, and there's still a buy imbalance, that would look good. And if that's not the case, then I don't care. So I'm interested in NU, obviously. Now, Amazon made a new trend that it's trying to break, because that's what Amazon does. Why is it still on new? There we go. So this trend line got reinforced, which when it goes steep, it made a new one on Amazon, which looks a little something like this. So from that connection to the last break to the upside, just to give you guys an idea, it then broke that, opened underneath, tested higher, did not break it. So I'm giving this to 50s. And when it retraces the first trend line, I guess I should, that's an obvious place to be taking profit into, because it's held that the entire afternoon. So if strong stock holds trend line the entire afternoon, when it gets to the first one, take profit. But no matter what, when 350 hits, whether or not it's on the screen in front of you, I will have NU up. Because if it's really big, it's going to be worth a shot. You never really know. It's a cheap enough stock, so you can probably get a relatively small move, do something for you on NU. We'll keep track of that for everybody. As we were just saying, the market's trying to pull back in here. Even a strong stock like Amazon's trying to pull back. In this case, just to reiterate it, I said I'm giving it to 50. I'm not giving it to the top of that trend line. I think it's a little too strong, a little too late in the day for that. Yeah. It's 336. And I'd like this to resolve in the next 10 minutes before the imbalances come out. I don't want to be sitting in this on a end of the month day where you want to be focused on something happening at that moment. I don't know why I had to snap.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That was overly dramatic.
I know it's like Thanos. You're just saying like your net could be.
That was kind of unnecessary.
In a minute gone. Like, oh, I have a good trade. Chopped in half. All right, so we have a good trade on Nvidia as the bears come back in finally. So this is going to be a good one. Now 50 cents in the money on this Nvidia trade. So that's like good. We had battled the market though, right? And so it'll actually be, well, I mean, this position pending, probably a flat or maybe even a negative afternoon because we fought the short. Actually, you know what? Looking at this, we did have a few more shares here. It's a good thing we got out when we did once it broke 91 because it does go up into 68.20s. Wow. That short really got aggressive there before eventually fading out. So I guess I thought if the futures, remember like the logic was if the futures ripped up, then I thought Nvidia would lead the way with that. So we had lost twice there early before eventually just saying, let's just do the VWAP trade. And we did that. And now the rest is history. I'm in a little bit of this new now. I like that story that Neil just said there. If there is going to be some sort of an imbalance, let's try to ride it. And then if it does come out at 350, we can adjust from there. You're right at the day's high. So you're starting to get picked up on some volume here. I thought anyways, it looks like now it's going to die. We need the minute to finish. So once that happens, we'll see. But you're at the day's high right now. That's probably a good sign. VWAP is not that far away. This is a very, very light position until we see what happens to NU at the close. So a good out down there, I think, for Nvidia. Our best out was 55, so we take that out there. And now we'll wait and see if this imbalance comes one way or the other. It's 338 right now. Remember, it's options today. We do have a little bit of a busy day as far as some names to cover. We've been going back and forth with some crypto names. Yep. Mara's been, I know you've been in that one. I'm seeing Disney right now hitting some scanners. Why is that? Oh, $90. So Disney's down to $9 as well. Solana we could look at. That was at 140 and change. Oh yeah, so here's Disney. Disney's trying to take out the 200 period moving average. So that could be something going right there, $89, $90. Yeah, if you want to look at some crypto, these are just real quick and then we'll get back to trading because there's 10 minutes left until we go. Let's just refresh this and have a quick look. Come on, Nvidia. Get to the down. New, get up. Nvidia, get down. But we don't have that many shares in new. waiting for 350 to see what that number is. All right, so here we go. The 7 days, it's been a pretty nasty move, right? 7% down for Bitcoin, 8 for Ethereum over the last week as we get ready to go. The Binance coin, maybe I'll zoom in a little bit here to have you guys have a better look. There it is. So Binance, BNB, they're down 8 as well. Solana, yuck. That continues to get hit. I talked about this live on the show. We got to fill there at 190 or 198, something like that. And that was like maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Down 8%. Crypto is really starting to go down. Ripple down 8. Lido, I guess, down 8. Cardano's gone so far 34, down 11.
But what about
Cardano.
Doge? No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, Doge down 11 as well. So basically, they're all getting hit. So, Toncoin. What is happening here? Toncoin, number 11 right now, down 23%. So how the mighty have fallen. You know crypto's in a problem when Toncoin is starting to go to the downside. So watch out for crypto and coin, TON. We are watching out below for Nvidia because this is now 50 cents and going lower. Now 53 cents in the money is this Nvidia trying to break through 50s again. I might get another piece out and then worry about it. That's the 50 period is right here at 46. All right, well, I'm going to put a bid on Nvidia, get one more piece out, see if it falls in and gives us that 56. But we are at the 50 period moving average. So to run from, we talked about this, to run from VWAP to the 50, that's the ultimate goal. We only have a couple outs there. We should have a couple more.
Yeah, got out at 50 on Amazon. I'm not going to wait for the top of the trend line. As I said, it's a little bit late in the day for that. It's 340. At this point, I just want to look at NU. And yeah, it's a New York stock.
The owner got arrested.
I keep doing this every single time. So NU, again, it hasn't really changed yet. You're still looking. Oh, never mind. 2 seconds ago, I was looking at this and it was still 95 million. Now it's down to 55. The paired volume is 200, so we're expecting about 250. So as long as if there's a big enough buy imbalance and it's 250 or more, I'm going to like it. But if it's under 250, then you know the volume can come in late. So let's look for VWAP in here. Once it hits 350, all bets are off if it comes out big. You might want to already be in off VWAP. We'll just see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen at 350. It could come out of sell. Don't at me. We're just giving you a live look at what we're seeing here. That's the important thing to keep in mind. So a lot of things are being are moving around and being added to indexes coming out of them, especially at the end of the month like this. It's going to be a big deal. Bonkzilla just said they slept on MDB. You're not alone, Bonkzilla. Now, obviously, it's not doing much in the afternoon, but when we talk about like post-earnings plays, there was an obvious trade today, I want to say, when this lost. So you look at the range in the aftermarket, the top end of the range. This is the top end of the range, 286. Look what happens. It's going back and forth, loses it for good here, and then tries to retest, fails. And look at the acceleration when it loses that level for good, retest, and instead of going back and forth, consolidation, and then there's that could have been a nice entry. It goes like $10 down. Nice little bounce off the bottom. If you're in at 275, is there a reason why 275 was a big deal? Not really. Actually, kind of. Yeah, bounces right off of previous highs. So previous resistance on an earnings day, gap up, and it finds support out in front of it. That's all you can ask for. If you only look at a 3-minute chart or a 1-minute chart or a 5-minute chart, you don't have a reason to be looking long when it goes down in there. You pull up a daily chart and you've got yourself a reason to go long. So good look on that MDB. I didn't look at it either, so I'm not the only one. Novavax is ridiculous. We're still going up on COVID news. 1240 on Novavax.
That was a good. That was a good.
If you punched,
that was a good news break there.
If you punched long when Adara said it,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Like you got 80s to 1240. That's not bad. That's not bad. You probably had to hold it 15 cents against you, but I don't think that's a big deal. Novavax legit. 20% short float. That seems to matter more than anything else. All right. 343. Still have some time for new.
I just punched into a little bit more there. It is trying to pair off a little bit here. I think this could get. Look, if it gets paired off,
it's still huge.
There's a plan of action. I mean, if you break through VWAP, we don't have anything to even worry about right now on this trade. We're just going to build into a little bit of position. We just got some 71s there. So we punched into 73s and 71s. We didn't punch as much 71s. We have an average price of 72 change right now on NU as we get ready for the imbalances to hit one more time and to end off such a good week of trading with a lot of stuff, man, a lot of volatility, a lot of names moving around. this week. I mean, we wasted, and again, we had Michael Noss on earlier, and he talked about, you know, potentially wasting time with Nvidia. That might have been the right play today. Our best play was Amazon by far. This was written down on the sticky note. To have still been in this would be sweet. I talked about this with Dan Emmons, who's messaging back and forth a little bit there over lunch and whatnot. And it's just like, I never know how, and I said to Obi, said the same thing, and as I joined the club, and it was just like holding on to winners for a little bit longer. He had, Obi had the thought of Nvidia short and had it at 121.60, basically the high of the day, and cleaned up. I mean, Obi's going to be in for, Obi is the leader of the pack today. We've talked about that a couple times there today. He probably didn't mention it, but Obi is at the top of the podium one time here today. But it's to hold on. Not but what I was getting at was to be able to hold on to that and not get out right there at the top. If you can come over here, Fabian, just that level right there of 175.50. It had come in, we thought about it. It came right back up there. I think this was live on it while we were off, but we had talked about if we get back into the highs, we want to get it out. Amazon continues to work despite the NASDAQ not being, we're 30 handles away from the highs, and this name's still working out. All right, well, you know what's working out now for us as well as this NU. We're long at, it's an amazing 2 pennies in the money. I don't think this is going to be a huge move until that.
It might only need to move 10 cents.
It might only move 5 cents. Yeah, so that's another point, is it's going to be very easy to pair this off. When you're having tons of money managers that mimic the MSCI, this is what creates this big imbalance. They've already announced that it's being added. So great. You see the move up in NU. I mean, wow. All right. So now it's at this top. It's breaking. It's a huge name. This is also a Berkshire name, I believe, as well.
Yes.
So you're going to wait to see now here. So they got to add into their portfolios some new bank if they're not in it. And it's going to have to be effective today because it's being added to the MSCI. So if you are an ETF or a mimic of the MSCI index, then you're going to have to add shares if you haven't already. Obviously, there's been some adding here to chase that beta, but we'll wait to see now where that final print comes today. And on a daily chart, you're right at the top. You're right at the top today. You're right at the top on a daily. If this comes out a bit, this thing probably, I could touch 15.
Easily.
Easily. The thing is, I don't know what size is going to be here. There's been so much money made on this move up that if I'm long like a couple 100,000 shares right here, do you not use the date that you're added as liquidity event to possibly get out? That could also be the truth. Well, we've seen, like, remember Uber got added in the next couple weeks. It was sort of like a little bit of a downside tick there.
Yeah, it was a sell the news event when they got added
went
to
back
the
up
index.
and is now at highs.
But you never know.
All right, here we go, Nan. 80 cents now in the money on Nvidia. This one's starting to work. Finally down into the downside. So it looks like that theory will be something there for Nvidia. Let's just put a bid now at 46s. Take this out. So blew a lot of money early here. I'm trying to dance with it a bit. And the move did not happen until 3:30, right? I mean, someone, who was that in the chat? The Trust Me Bro,
They said
Farm Boy?
3:30.
Farm Boy was like, yo, trust me,
Couple
at
of people
3:30,
said 3:30.
we're going to get spicy with it. Yeah, man, that's pretty much exactly what happened. 3:30 right here, Farm Boy, starting to get spicy with it. That was the high, and it's all the way down. Shout out to Pascal Siakam.
Spicy P.
Spicy P.
And no longer a Raptor.
No longer a Raptor, and we got hosed on that deal, boy.
Who knew?
Who knew? I knew. Our Raptors.
Well, you traded them a year too late, so it is what it is. But you know what? It's better. It's a sunk cost theory. They should have traded him a year earlier, but it's better than not trading him at all, I suppose, and letting him walk for nothing. And so sometimes you can't let
did the year before.
Yeah, like you can't let the mistake that you made. So what?
Fred Van Fleet.
You know, like it is what it is. Like if you make a mistake, all you can do is move forward from that mistake. So obviously they did the best they could, and the Raptors are not very good right now, but they're trying to get better. I like some of the pieces they got. I think the Barrett trade is going to work out for them. He's a good player. They got a great pour guarded quickly. So 90 seconds to go. I'm just keyed in. At this point, I mean, what are you going to do? NU's like, it's 82 million shares, right? So something else could happen. Nvidia could have a gigantic imbalance. I still won't be looking at something else. Because if this does come out as big as it looks like, it might be worth just taking a shot in it. And ideally, you can get a better price, but it might just be punching almost immediately in. And if it doesn't pair and it's like seconds to go, already. Yeah, I mean, it's giving you the top end of the range here.
I literally have
I'm just trying to wait. Yeah, I'm just trying to wait.
I'm still trying to wait as well, but it broke the top, and we sat there and said, thank you very much. We'll take some money right there off of that play. And again, it is the patented 15% this time that we got out there at 76 off of a 72 long. It's nothing, but it's something. We'll wait to see what happens now with just a minute left. We can watch everything if you want. Here's Nvidia. Right. We'll keep that up right now. Let me call those imbalances up for you right now. And we will just go like this. We'll get rid of it. So don't be surprised if this leaves now for a second. We're just going to watch out for New York and NASDAQ names. So there, that disappears. The early looks are gone right now. They're still there, but I took them away. I only want to see real plays that are going to come through for you right now. So watch out for Nvidia. Watch this name right here. We're bidding 21s on Nvidia. We are very, very light on this trade right now. We're not going to worry about giving too much back here. It's NVDA, watching out for it. But here, with only 20 seconds left, I'm going to put my stop on Nvidia 119, if that goes. We're talking about New U right now, or BYU, sorry, I guess. There it is. We're going to get out of 100% of this trade if it goes back up. This should still give us a little bit of a winner on Nvidia as we've just cleaned it out. We don't want to be in too many things as they hit right now. So there goes, oh, it is a big buy. All right, we are starting to go upside right now on NU, so it's a nice little buy there. It's coming out monstrous, down to 114.75. 90 million, 91 million, 85 million. And let's ring the registers right now. Drop down some cash for NU right now. Nice upside move there. It's the biggest and the baddest of them all. Amazon continues to say, thank you very much for that one. 174 long up to 178. She's working out that one. Nvidia, though, just took us out. That's honestly, the amount of shares we had doesn't matter. It's NU that is starting to go right now. Nice upside move. 85 million shares still to print at the close.
It's only done 80 million. It's only done 80 million on the day.
Could be ridiculous.
I just tried to punch 78, didn't get it. I'm going to sit there and see if we don't get picked up. But there it is. It's basically everyone was expected. And remember, it's actually bigger now. 280 is the actual total of the imbalance or the actual closing auction interest. 280 with 80 million still to the buy side. And on top of that, it was expected to be a little bit less than that in terms of the total interest. We did Fabian, so we're good to go. I have to keep in mind I have to get up to the desk in about 5 minutes, but you can get a fill and you can throw it into the auction just so everyone understands that.
Yeah, don't worry. I mean, you can stay here all the way to the close.
It is what it is. If I get it, I'd auction it anyways. But I don't want to chase the top on this because I do expect at 55, like remember, it's still here. At 355, we generally expect things to pair off, right? So if there's a huge pair event, I don't want to be jumping in if it goes down to nothing or flips into a sell. I'm not necessarily expecting that, but it's easily the biggest thing out there. Amazon buy, Intel buy, those are big, but there's nothing bigger than NU as we sit in it right now. Michelle Hebert saying GME is going to close above 23. Yes, but 23 is where we had it last, so that's not really that good. But good for GameStop. Good week for GameStop going into earnings 2 weeks from now. NU doesn't even want to pull back into this breakout. Sometimes you'll get a dip going into 55. It is not dipping. I don't want to chase it too far. Where has this stock even been? It's right here. These are actual 52-week highs.
Yeah, no, I think all-time or something like that.
Is it all-time?
I don't know. That's kind of what we did before. All right, man, you know what? Regardless of what happens to this closing print, it's already a chicken dinner winner here for NU. I mean, this is going to be a good one. We're long, and we're just getting out as it goes up. We still have half the position on, but it's at 86, 87. And I just look at it like this. I would hope it prints higher. I do want to get more shares. But let's just say this thing does pair off at 55 or pairs off a little bit. We should get a little bit of a pullback in. It's not happening at all. Every single out so far has been bad.
It's just going higher.
Because it's going higher. So definitely acknowledge that. But when stocks go higher and you're long, it's called profit. So we'll start taking that profit out right now. And again, just new holdings right now, just on this position, is now one of the top stocks. So we'll just continue to hold on to that, see what's going on. I'm sure the guys behind us probably have a shit ton of, or a lot of this. So here we go, or not. Hey, there's 3 or 4 people here. All right, we see Max in the building. We see Obi here as well. So it's a big event, right? It's just a matter of volume coming through at the close. So, we're ready to go, right? I mean, if anything hits here, Amazon continues to work high. It went into 179. I mean, what a great level for Amazon. And you no better of an example you're going to see than today when I can keep it on new if you guys want. No better of an example than today as the effect that a 350 balance could have. A lot of you maybe before watching the show didn't even know that these things there. I'm going to get out more at 91. Like, let's go. You guys might not have even really realized that some of these things happen, but we're glad to have showed you this and shown
it. Is now gone. There's no chase up here. You can't. You have to be in it early.
Yeah,
I'm not, because at 355 if it pairs, it can go right back to the original price. So if you get long at the top here without seeing what happens at 55, I think you're kind of going to be in a bit of a spot. So remember, it's already starting to pair. I like
20 cents in the
I like to keep it up so I know where it came from, so I have a bit of a reference point. So everyone was expecting it was going to come out at 82. It's down to 68. So if it does pair to like under, much, much smaller, I'm talking about like 20 or 30 million, I think it's still decent size. But if it's single digits, then, all bets are off here. So 25 seconds, not to the end of the day, but just when I'd expect some action on this imbalance to possibly change dramatically. So give it 15 seconds or so. It's not a tried and tested. It has to make a change here. But this is generally when, if it's going to flip or it's going to grow, you would see it at 55, maybe at 58 as well. So we'll have a quick look in just a few seconds. I'm on level 2 just in case something drastic happens. If it were to get a lot bigger, that could be a spot.
All right, big move on an imbalance here with NU. I'm just tweeting this out now because here it goes, man. Up to 99s. All right, guys, this is a big, this is probably one of the better trades, honestly, that you guys maybe have, or that I've been able to put on anyways, as it still stays there long for you there today. We took this immediately. As soon as we put it up, as soon as Neil said there is an actionable trade here today, we went long on NU, and there it goes, man. A top stock. So we'll sort of Barry Horowitz, pat ourselves on the back right there and watch this name continue to climb higher. If you want to trade the close, Neil, do not leave your spot. The after show.
No, I'm not chasing this. I was
going to say anything else. If anything else goes up, I just don't want
It's too far gone. I don't know.
No. Yeah, I agree.
It went from 70 to 15 even, 52-week highs.
It's already paired off. So the number that you gave was 240 million. It's going to have to be at least 300 million now at the close. So it might be getting a little overextended. I have 15% left. So we have rang the register. It is gone at this on point. This one. It was a good one. Yeah. We're done it now.
No, I made my call.
All right, let's go over.
Either I was punching it. Oh, sorry.
We got to go to a dare anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Really nice look here with a volume spike here for TSLA to the upside. Looks like one of the largest volume candles of the day here on the 3-minute chart for Tesla. We did have a little bit earlier this afternoon. The stock didn't react much at the time. A Wall Street Journal reporting that the company is looking to unveil the robo-taxi on October 10th at Warner Brothers Discovery movie studio in LA. So TSLA, that catalyst as well. Also another Elon Musk related update coming a little bit later. We did have here the Brazil Supreme Court judge ordering X to be suspended in the country. So a couple different Elon Musk catalysts, but the main one to keep an eye on here is October 10th, reportedly, according to the Wall Street Journal, the unveiling of the Cybertruck, guys.
Okay, October the 10th. All right, yeah, so far so good here, guys. Let's just keep it going. Keep watching what we're watching. And we just got another piece out. This is going to look like red roses, right? Red roses, red roses. But right now, we'll see where it goes with only 3 minutes left. I want to thank everybody for watching, joining, and having a blast with us here again today. As these futures, man, don't worry about it. There ain't no free fall Friday today. This is a nice move up that 1+ percentage points. Nvidia, we really did well. Thank you, Nvidia, for giving us that move down. Although right now it takes it out. Google's a great trade for us today. Amazon was, Amazon 179 right now. I thought this name was one of the names left for dead over the last little while, but Amazon continues to work itself out as well. Look, big days here today as traders await to see any actionable events here. These are the New York and NASDAQ imbalances. I see Apple entering the building now with this. I'll zoom in a little bit more for you guys here so we can see this. Apple entering the building with a little bit of a buy imbalance. There it is, just spikes up. Look at that spike right there. These are real prints, by the way. That's 229.80 on that imbalance. Just ripped up 80 cents there. I believe it to be real. I was not sitting here, so maybe it wasn't. Palantir with a bid as well, getting it 40 cents. I'm still getting a little bit of a headache here for some reason today. All right, so there's new. We are out. We told you we had 15%. Now we have 10% left on new holdings as that's come all the way back in. So like we might have mentioned, the move might have already happened. We indicated that there was only supposed to be a couple 100 million shares there. It looks like we got 300 million in total of action on this. So a lot of traders looking here right now. There's no doubt about that. It is NU. So we'll wait to see if anything happens there with that trade. But now with only 1 minute and 15 seconds left, you will have, people want to look at, we can look at GME quickly. Was there an imbalance on GME? 23.40 right now. GME back up to game's high. today high for GameStop. Intel with a sell, but Intel still says we'll take 10% on our head today and like that one. It's Nvidia. It's new right now. Oh no, there goes new. I got rid of it. We only have a minute left. Go back to the size. Where is it? There it is right here. NU 95s right now. I'm going to put the exit off and we are now out. So we are now flat on everything. I do not have any more trades. That was a good trade there on NU. So now let's wait. A nice little fade off here with only 30 seconds left. Getting excited right now, so it's going to be a good trade there coming through for the end of the day. Let's cheer on these imbalances. NU with a nice move up with only 30 seconds left. Now we get ready to make some money. Here we go, Adara. Only 15 seconds left. We're getting excited in the back. It's a roll call type of day. It's new bank or new holdings at $15. It's, whoopsie, sorry about that. It's not roll call. It is countdown, Adara. We are going to be 5 seconds off, Adara. 3, 2, 1. The bell has rung. So there it goes, man. Nice move in for the rest of the day. We will find out what exactly is going on. It's new. Where did it print? I think it printed 90s or so. There's a monster print. Where is that bid? I wish I could find this for you guys. Monster bids happening right here. Trying to find the big print. I don't know where it was, but there it goes. Not much action there at the end. We took advantage of that. Closing the day, Apple right there as well. Google, not much. Let's check in on Nvidia just real quick. I'm looking to hear what all the hype is about. Not seeing too much right now. So they're just all excited. I can try to find a trade for you guys if there was anything here at the end of the day. Maybe just look to see if anybody traded anything. I see Obi was involved in something. No, not really. Yeah, there was nothing. Obi had some of that Nvidia to the back side up there, up top. So, all right, man, it's 4 o'clock, 4:01. There we go. So they're all sort of talking a little bit there. Not much. It looks like there's one trader maybe done something there. That's Joe, who got the hole-in-one, the taller guy. We talked about that again. So congratulations to anybody that had managed to make some money right there. It was a good close and a good day. Let's go back over to the desk now. No earnings, but Ryan Funa, I believe, on deck for us as well. So from everybody here, thank you so much. It's been a great week, a great day. We won't be back on Monday, but we're back on Tuesday. Good luck with everybody's fantasy drafts. We'll see you on Tuesday.
And we got to have good luck in our fantasy draft as well, which is happening on Sunday. Our high school buddies do it. Welcome to the Market Recap Show. We don't have a lot of earnings, but there's a lot to recap on this day, on this week, on this month end here. A lot of activity, a lot of things flying around. We're going to have Ryan Funa from Benzinga come on and talk a little bit about trades. I know he caught a little something. Well, at least I'm pretty sure based on our conversation during the afternoon on email that he caught a little something that'll be nice. I don't want to spoil it, but it looks fantastic for sure. I also saw, I want to acknowledge in the chat, I did see Raider in the chat. I don't know if he's still there, but Raider Trader was in the chat. What up if you're still there? Said, trust me, bro. It was GameStop, not AMC, Raider. And I got to say it, sometimes it's Jimmy, not Amy. Because when you look at the market, we'll talk about the overall market, but let's get into some movers, right? Like today, it was more Jimmy than it was Amy. And if I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm part of the community, like I was saying in the afternoon show, but at the end of the day, Jimmy went up, and I don't care. I had one long in it yesterday. I had one long in it today. I wish I could tell you it was early, but good move for GameStop going into their earnings, not next week, the week after next. So September 10th. GameStop is going to be reported. And there was a note, of course, on GameStop that they are now going to be funding operations from cash on hand. Straight cash, homie, not debt. Straight cash, homie, for GameStop. With the short float of still 9% to the upside, you're seeing it still go. A little bit of a squeeze to the upside. Raider says, trust me. Dang, I don't give up yet. AMC double. You know what, though? Raider, it cannot hurt. It can't hurt. It can't hurt if GameStop's going to the upside. And truth be told, everything, I'm just going to go over what you're in the chat here right now, and I know exactly what we're talking about. You're consolidating like this on a squeeze name, you got upside. If GameStop starts to drive other things in there, you've got a very tight range, and a tight range in a squeeze name means you get a good risk to reward if it breaks out. And as a trader, you should be looking for good risk to reward. That's what trade's all about. That's what made new good. VWAP was at $14.65, I believe, without pulling it up, and it was at the 70s. It went to $15. You could have just put a stop at VWAP, and if it came out a big sell imbalance instead of a buy, you risk 8 to 10 cents. And it ended up going 20 to 30 because it was busting out that 15, those 52-week highs. So, just out loud, thinking about the opportunities that are out there when a stock is in a tight range or it's cheap, but it has the capabilities of doing a big move. So shout out to that for sure. Overall, if you're looking at the markets today, I don't want to say it was good. It was definitely a good day, but it was a weird one. And the reason I say it was weird is because we had false breakout in the morning, V-shaped recovery. I feel like this is not what I was expecting. Like when you had that false breakout and trend down, it just felt like, okay, your shorts were going to work. And then in the afternoon, short back into VWAP. But overall, you got the Qs up 1%, 1.2%, and more or less right back to the highs that we had this morning. Not quite into yesterday's highs, but a strong day overall in terms of recovery. You got an even stronger move over here in the SPY. They broke out that top in a big way. I think the big name individually is going to be what Amazon did in the afternoon. So look at that starting to go. And it was a big move at the end of the day. But let's keep in mind, Amazon, it's not even at the 50. I mean, look at where this thing is. It's not even at the 50 period. It's got room to run here. You get to 182 and you're not even sniffing at a big move just yet. And leading the way, not much of a surprise. When you have a big day in the Qs, we know SMH is going to do well. So when you're looking at the different sectors, we can flip it on down and do a little sector watch here. It's 2.25%, I should say, or 2.33% for the SMH. Fantastic day for SMH. And really, when you think about what's been going on, we've been in a bit of a slow pullback. So there was a rejection over here in the semiconductor ETF. It got to the 50. It's trending down. And today was a bit of a relief rally type day, not just for the markets, and the semis needed it. And it was another name with a very clean rejection of yesterday's highs and a breakdown. One of the best short setups is when you reject a prior high right away at the open and trend down. That's why I'm so surprised we got all the way back up to the top. It felt like this was just like a bleed it off Friday, and it turned out to be a buy the dip, let it rip into the afternoon kind of Friday. So great look on the SMH for anybody out there. Not the only thing. I mean, hey, look at consumer discretionary. Now, what is in consumer discretionary? 1.5% to the upside. What is the thing that could have caused it to break out that top? Oh, yeah, that's right. Tesla's consumer discretionary. Tesla, 3.7%. That got through the highs in the afternoon. Didn't quite get to yesterday's highs, but who cares? Up almost 4 points for Tesla. It's been a bit of a dog recently, so it's just doing a little bit of work, but I like it when you can erase a couple of down days to end the week. Can't push through 215 on options day. So when you look at consumer discretionary, that's the reason, in my opinion, why it's going to be up so much. A host of green across the board. I mean, whether you're looking at materials, breakout late in the day, I feel like we're going to be a broken record if we just do this. So you want to see where things are in a bigger time frame. This is interesting, materials making a break on that higher time frame. We've had guests talk about this as well, looking at some of the hard assets for that upside play. If you're into silver and gold, they didn't do too bad today, but they certainly didn't lead the way. And I'm gonna give some like very minute love to the fact that TAN wasn't down. It's one of the worst. The solar names, it's probably the worst looking ETF out there. There might be something worse. Don't at me if you can find an ETF with a worse chart. I'm willing to accept that I haven't looked at all of them, but certainly TAN hasn't looked good. But up a couple of points here today. This is the kind of thing I'm very interested, just on a personal sense. I'm very interested in taking a shot at this at some point. You got rates starting to come down, which is good. I think it's too early still. You got to wait for the election to play itself out, right? I mean, I'm not going to get into politics, but obviously you care about who wins if you're going to get into TAN. That's just my opinion. I think obviously if the Dems win, that would look good for them, and then maybe this can start breaking up. But I got the eyeballs on this in case it starts to go. Not all good everywhere, because oil took it on the chin, down 3 points today. The only good thing about the move in oil was the fact that it stopped going down in the afternoon and was sliding down after just getting crushed right away off the morning. So, it is what it is. Oil had been on a bit of a decent run. Energy had been on a decent run, trying to get back some of their gains. Then you're going to end up closing. I mean, you essentially closed at the lows when oil futures when that oil futures market closed, and then you drifted a little bit lower, bounced a little bit with the rest of the market, but a little bit of a pullback happening there. Do also want to acknowledge there was a decent move. You close up 1.5% on KWeb, but the story might be, and Alibaba gapped up, couldn't hold on to 84. I mean, 84 was a line that I liked, and when I'm going back, I think about if I'm looking for a level to bounce, which I was looking for an 84 bounce, you can see it not happen. What happens when it retests that level? You got to be able to flip the script, right? Didn't flip the script in Alibaba. I'm not going to complain. There were plenty of other good places to go to the short. Google was one, AMD was one. There were plenty that ended up working at that time of day. But when you've got a key level and it loses it, be willing to play it in the other direction because it was the right level, it was the wrong direction, and you had all the opportunity to get into it. In a good news note, it's somewhat of a good news note, PDD managed to get back some of its losses. This is an absolute dumpster fire the last days. It held on to the dip and ended up trending late in the day. But I cannot show you PDD without showing the daily chart. So the fact that it's flat on the day is not too bad whatsoever. So let's be real. Chinese names, they're up, they're down, they're in and around, but you want to play them when they're in play. Right now, PDD seems to be in play. It's rounding out a bottom. It has a gigantic gap to fill. Certainly an opportunity that it could go a little somewhere. So, overall, as I said, I think it was a little bit of a surprising day in some sense with that V-shaped recovery. You rejected so many highs. SMH rejected a high off the open. Nvidia rejected. So many breakouts ended up coming back in. The fact that we even got back to those tops, I think, is a good sign. And speaking of things that got to the top, I know a certain person, and his name is Ryan Funa, and the thing that I didn't get into, he was looking at this afternoon as well. So let's get into Trader Talk and see how our friend is doing. Ryan, how's it going? It's Friday. What are you up to? You always tell me that you're not interested in things on Friday, and a few things moved. So I'm hoping you were at least a little bit active.
I was a little bit active here today. How are you, Neil? How's everything going? I'm happy that it's Friday. I was a little active here. I was actually active in the morning on a small cap BNRG, which kind of gave a pretty violent move after it dipped and ripped.
Yep.
And then I was active here on NVAX in the afternoon. I had the SPY chart, I'm sorry. I'm making your production guy lose his mind. Here's the NVAX chart here. This was probably the best afternoon trade here. We got an awesome squawk from Charlie. Shout out to Charlie squawking on Benzinga. This thing ran. I mean, all I did was scalp this. You could have held on to this for a little bit of a longer play here. This thing really ripped, closed here at the highs. I actually just scalped this twice here in the afternoon. And then earlier today, we had this little junk stock here, BNRG. Had a nice little run here after you get a little bit of a head fake here. We traded up, came right back in, and then bang, volume really kind of expanded, got another day trade there. We had a whole bunch of people in the chat hitting this one. I did really quickly want to mention Tesla, too, because Tesla, well, you had talked earlier about there being a lot of ranges being traded. Tesla here was really kind of staying under this line, and as soon as we popped, that got a nice little run and closed at the highs here, too. Neil, overall, I'm with you. This was a weird day. It made sense for me to kind of sell off here on the SPY. We did get that V-shaped recovery. This is your intraday chart here. Now, when you look at the daily chart here, we are set up to test these all-time highs next week. We got a long weekend ahead of us, but I do think this is next here.
Yeah, and I think we can get to the SPY in a bit, but to your point, the most important point, I think, was we got that news on NVAX. I heard it in my ear. At the time, look, okay, so GameStop was running. In my defense, I don't have a very good defense for being in GameStop instead of NVAX this afternoon. But in my defense, GameStop had been going. It seemed like it was the thing that was going to be squeezing in the afternoon, in the moment. So I was in that, and I got the NVAX news. I'm like, I don't know, GameStop, reporting in a week and a half, short float, apes, all that kind of stuff, right? Like I'm thinking that's going to be the one. NVAX ends up pulling back and giving you just even if you ignored it when the news came out, like if you didn't take like you could have had it when you got the news, you could have had probably legitimately 1160 and played it to like 12 and a quarter and just called it a day. Like that, and that's fine. Like you could just sit there, get 5 points or whatever, you get your 5 points and walk away from it. But the fact that it pulled right back into that same support, so when I was like, whatever, I'm not going to take it, I'm not going to chase it, and then it pulls right back into support. There's no excuse for that one because by then you know the news, like you got the free money on the news, and then it gives you a second chance. I mean, come on.
Yep.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I'm talking to myself.
The two scalps here, 24 and 25 cents. Just goes to show you really don't need that whole much or that whole amount here to make it good. That initial one, that's really where the squawk shines, by the way. That when he starts mentioning a ticker here, a lot of the times, if it's a ticker that I recognize and a headline that I realize, that's exactly what we got here with NVAX and COVID and monkeypox and all that. Yeah, buy. Just hit the buy button and then hit the sell button when it's higher. It's actually not that difficult. It's a little bit more difficult when we came in from that impulse move. Once it looked like we were going to start to curl up here and our volume kind of flipped over to the buy side, tried it again here for a little bit less. But hey, I'll take them. Like I said, in the afternoon on Friday, sometimes you don't really get anything, but I'll take whatever the market gives me.
Yeah, and look, you're supposed to take what the market gives you. That's the entire point. So I know you said sometimes you're on a Friday, it's a do nothing kind of day. I felt like for myself, it's like all the money got made short early. And then in the afternoon, it's like, okay, well, it didn't lose on GameStop, but then I lost on Nvidia, trying to go long on Nvidia when it couldn't go with everything else. So it ended up being kind of like a wash afternoon for me. But you just took all you needed was either NU at the close, which Sean had. I don't know if you saw that. But NU,
let me take a look at that.
So it was being added to the MSCI, and it was a big imbalance came out, just drove it from like 1470 into 15 in like the final 15 minutes of the day. So if you had that or NVAX, that's your entire afternoon right there. You don't need anything else out of those two names. Great, you can still trade. I have nothing against the big cap tech names, but I don't think they were the best place to be on this kind of an afternoon. And given the fact it's month end, it's Friday, it's a long weekend, sometimes that can be expected. And I often say this, if the market's not moving enough, give me a runner. That's why I was so too focused, I think, on GameStop. But I wanted to, just very quickly, it was BNRG that you were in this morning. So it's not a huge short float, but it's one of those low float names, only about 5 million. Now, obviously, it did a ton of volume today. So it's like, no, you're talking, what did it do, like 40 times? Something like that?
Looking at this here, on average,
is that right?
This stock trades just under 800,000 shares. Today, we did more. 235 million.
Okay, so
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. We also had the catalyst here this morning. Shares are trading higher after the company reported year-over-year increase in H1 EPS results. Also, the company announced a projected pipeline value up to 500 million. This thing was active early. We had this thing pegged right out of the open. Gave us a trade here today. This one was pretty good. I mean, look, like you were kind of saying here, just kind of reviewing the rest of the news here. Like you were kind of saying here, these names, these are kind of junky. But if this is what's moving, if this is what you can telegraph, if this is what you can grab a hold of, giddy up. The interesting thing here, I was trying to scalp Lunar this morning, which I ended up taking a very small loss on, and made back everything that I lost on BNRG because this gave just such a great trade. Once the morning was over, though, once this was on the backside of the move, you might as well forget about it.
So two questions here. We have one from the viewer. One from a viewer I'm going to get to in a second, but I was in Lunar for a little bit too, and I don't wonder if it wasn't something similar. I mean, I don't know. Like, obviously, we trade on. No two trades are going to be exactly the same, but there was a moment this morning where it looked like it was trying to go, like it had made a bounce off. Like, okay, so it looked really good at one point. Like, it was making some bounces, and I did have it. Just trying to find if I can figure it out. I feel like it was somewhere in here when it tested the low and then made the higher low, and I was somewhere in the 40s, and it just couldn't make that breakout, and I was really holding for it to break back into the top. Ended up taking a small hit, but it was early on in the day when I had. But more important, who cares about my trade? More importantly, a question in the chat. I don't see who sent it. There it is. It's from Mark L. And when you were discussing just now when you were trading the afternoon in Novavax, 23 cents, 25 cents, scalp trading. So the question is, how long do you hold your trades. I think probably when it's a scalp trade in general.
So that it can depend, right? In the case of Novavax here today, I'm not even sure I was in that for 10 seconds. I mean, you're buying it and it's ripping. And I mean, if you know going in it's a scalp, you know you really don't need a huge amount. I mean, there have been times where I'm scalping with small size, where I'm like trying to get this thing to run a little bit more and it just won't. And then it comes back down to my entry. And I was like, what are you doing? So if you know you're going in scalping, I know I'm not going to be in there very long anyway. If I time the move correctly and it continues to move in the direction that I'm trading, I got no problem just getting out of there. With this being an afternoon trade, and especially on NVAX, I'm not loading up thousands and thousands of shares here. This is just kind of a small, keep the lights on trade. So, I mean, I'm all in and all out. This is not something where I'm leaving a piece on in case it runs. It's Friday. I'm basically just trying to get a little scratch here. So in those cases, I'm not in it for very long. Lunar, however, which was supposed to be a scalp that didn't work, I think you and I probably tried to trade the exact same thing. It was right in here, right? We sold off. It looked like we were going to curl up, maybe test, and then take the VWAP. This actually looked pretty good at the time. And then we just got, sad trombone. This thing just sold off, broke the lows. That's when we're out there. This one took a little bit longer because I didn't get the move that I was hoping for as fast as I wanted. So I stayed in it a little bit longer. I was wrong. Remember, you can be wrong, but don't stay wrong. That's what happened here. Yeah,
so we probably, I mean, look, it's not going to have been necessarily at the same time or the same price, but we had the same move. I think I had exactly the same look. I was looking to hold into VWAP. I scalped, I know I scalped some out before it got to VWAP, but the intention was for it to hold above VWAP, look for a place to add if it had consolidated over VWAP and then play into the high of the day and play it by ear if it could take out $6. So yeah, sometimes it is what it is. A losing trade's a losing trade, but as long as you have a plan of action, I don't mind. I came in this morning with an intention to trade that stock if it sets something up for me to the long side, which it did, and it just doesn't work out. Sometimes that's just what it is. You have a plan, but yeah, you're getting a lot of praise there for that NVAX trade. And what the great thing about it is when it's a news-based trade, you'll often see, and we'll do it on the live show, like if Boeing has, I always say Boeing, unfortunately, because it seems like Boeing has news every single week. And it's like, oh, Boeing news, punch short. You hit the sell key, and then you hit the buy key right away if you're fast enough. And then when it tries to bounce, maybe you short it into the previous high. But it's usually very quick scalp trades on news. Because if it's legitimate, maybe it continues. But imagine it's like, oh, it's a good story, but it's not that big, and the algos come and sort of reverse the move. You want to make sure you grab the easy money and that easy profit. So my question to you is, obviously, I know you do a lot of small cap scalp trading. Mm-hmm. When it comes to trading the news like this, do you trade, you said, I heard you say it was a name that you recognize. Now, do you only trade names that you recognize when it's news, or do you not care? It's like, oh, this is news, it's doing volume, let's jump at it. Is that a bit of a prerequisite that you're familiar with the stock?
That is a fantastic question. And the answer is no. Right?
Okay.
Sometimes it doesn't matter what the stock is. It actually matters what the catalyst is. So, for example, today with NVAX, we have news about its data. Sorry, I had my Tesla chart up here. Let me go back to NVAX. We had news about its data here. Another example of one of these types of trades where it almost doesn't matter was when you get takeover rumors, right? Company XYZ is exploring strategic alternatives, and traders are circulating a rumor that there's potential M&A. I almost don't even care what the stock is. If it's a small stock, it's probably going to pop, and I want to try and capture some of that. Now, one other thing that you were talking about there, just kind of about this being a shorter term thing, the one thing is that if you've watched this enough, and you tell me how many times you've seen this, you'll have the news be squawked, the stock will pop, and then it comes right back in. And so if you see that enough times, or worse, if you're trapped in that enough times, eventually you're going to say to yourself, well, I'm just going to take that pop. If it goes more, maybe I'll have another setup. Maybe it'll butt up against another resistance level or come off another support level and give you another opportunity to reload that. But when you see some of these pops and then the ones that just kind of retrace, if you see that enough, you kind of train yourself to get out quickly. Now on NVAX, we have the benefit of hindsight here. Okay, so we know that this finished above 12 and closed near the highs. But when this was happening, we got that initial impulse move. We retraced this move almost 100%. This is like a 95% retracement. These are 1 minute candles. This happened in 5-6 minutes. So it retraced that. I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be sitting there thinking, gosh, is this going to go back up? Am I going to get another opportunity to sell it? No, just sell the thing. If you're scalping it, you're not investing in this company anyway. Buy it, get your profit, get out. If it comes back in and tests the VWAP like this and gives you another opportunity, I mean, that's just gravy at that point, right?
100%. You said it right. You're not investing in it. You're just making a trade. And it should go without saying, don't, and for anyone out there that does swing trade, don't mix those two things. I've been there, thankfully, a long time ago, where you're in something for a short term, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, yeah, it's still okay. And the next thing you know, you're still in it like a month later, and it's like, what am I doing here? And then you're a bag holder.
Why am I holding these bags, Neil?
There isn't a trader alive that isn't holding a bag or hasn't held bags in the past. And we hope that our traders and our viewers can learn from sometimes our mistakes, but also from the successes there, Ryan. And before, it's already 4:24, and I wanted to maybe ask you about Tesla here. I know you had the Tesla chart up. Look, I mean, Tesla, while on the daily chart, it might not look the most impressive. When we talk about things being in ranges and ranges being good to trade, this one took the stairs today. There's no question about it. From a technical standpoint, and I famously, someone in the chat was like, why don't you just go long right now, Neil? While I was explaining I wanted to test back into 211. And they were so dead right that I should have just punched long instead of waiting for one retest of support. I ended up going higher right away, but it doesn't matter. This was the same highs, and then when it finally broke away from it, give me a break. You had previous highs being support, and when it finally broke away from this 212 level, this is in here where I was not aggressive enough going long. It just really broke away late in the day. And then you see what it's doing. I mean, holding some gains in the afternoon. You were trading small cap names. Did you look at Tesla? Were you interested in that? Are you interested next week?
Yeah. So first of all, Tesla, this is one of our community's most popular stocks. Yeah. So even if I don't intend to look at Tesla, chances are I've looked at Tesla, and this is exactly what we had here this morning. So we talked last time we were together about just some of these pre-market ranges. Again, just this very simple intraday chart. The only indicator I have here is VWAP, and we're basically marking off this channel that you kind of touched on earlier. Well, Tesla was in that channel. We missed the breakout here, and I noticed that it was really kind of buttoned up against this high here, and it came back in and went right back to that channel. Once this setup takes place here, and once we don't break down through the VWAP, that's where the Hawkeyes have to start. That's where you got to be like, okay, we've now retested another top edge here, and when we've come back in, I mean, you can even delete this line. It does look like it back tested that pre-market level, but frankly, you can use the VWAP for this with probably more accuracy. We did not even break down through the VWAP, and the stock started to recover and go back to the highs. This should be your alert. Hey, Tesla, you might have a trade here. Then as soon as you take this out, it's hard to see here because the volume sticks aren't very big, but this was, I believe up to that point, this was the biggest volume stick of the day. Yep, this actually even eclipsed those volume sticks right here at the open. So you got a range break through the upside on Tesla on the biggest volume stick of the day. There you go. Now, this oscillated back and forth. So even if you're scalping, you might have been able to be in and out there a couple of times. Did Sean trade this? I'm curious if he had a bunch of tickets on this.
You know what? Unfortunately, afternoon, I don't think so. I know I tried. I didn't get a fill on it. I went to try to go long. I think he traded in the morning, but that afternoon was a huge miss on Tesla. And I know where I was looking. Like I said, I was probably too fixated on GameStop, thinking it was going to make a big break, and then I was a little too fixated on AMD because that was a short that had worked for me all week long. And I think I was probably leaning into it a little bit too much, looking for it to set up again when it never did. So I just never, I got out of it when AMD broke VWAP and then just never got back in and kept staring at the thing all afternoon looking for a retracement trade. But yeah, Tesla, you're so dead right about that. The way that it showed you the range. And what's really important is It's about that you know where the top is. And it's not about just trying to sit here and like game like longs in as it gets to the top. Let's go long into it. It's going to break. It's going to break. It's that higher low that now can't get back in through VWAP, as you said, or can't get back in through whatever you want. You can call like this previous like consult like right in here. Try to pull back. It does that same thing, and then it's a very clean breakout, and then support resistance turns into support. That's a dollar scalp trade that you had at least 3 times, including the breakout trade. Again, just like Novavax, Ryan, that's your whole day right there. You don't need it from the bottom in the morning. You just need it 2 or 3 times there, scalping in and out for the dollar. It's Tesla, plenty liquid, all that good stuff. So, you got a couple of ideas in there on news. Thank you to Benzinga for the Novavax. I know some people definitely hit that. You hit it, so congratulations to you there. Got in and out fast. It was a continuation play. Tesla, a great-looking one. And you know what? It's a long weekend. So I got to say before we get you out of here, Ryan, have a fantastic long weekend. But I got to ask, any special plans for the long weekend?
I mean, anytime I get a weekday that doesn't have a market day, anytime I get a weekday off and it's warm outside, we're going golfing, baby. So I'm going to golf multiple times this weekend. I'm going to be on cloud 9. We had a huge college football slate last night, another one tomorrow. Look, man, it's good times right now.
Yes.
It's good times right now.
It's early season blowouts where they, like, you had, I mean, I don't know, like Missouri played, like, I don't even know the team that they played. Utah, I have no idea who they played. When it's like, I like watching some of the early, I love college football too, but when it's always like the 55-0 games, I always want that first competitive matchup. Because unless it's your team, just watching essentially what looks like a high school game, like, give me a break. Like, I can't get into those as much, but I feel ya. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. It's supposed to be decent weather. I'm not much of a golfer myself, but I certainly enjoy.
Real quick, though. So the Colorado game was very, very fun to watch. Deion Sanders, anytime, prime time.
Fair.
He's amazing to watch. But I have to admit, I feel like a little bit of a degenerate. I put a parlay on looking at some of these spreads, those games that you were just talking about, Arkansas versus Arkansas, Pine Valley State, or whatever it was. They had like a 50.5 spread. And I'm looking at the betting app. I'm like, 50.5. Yeah, I'm going to take this Arkansas team I've never heard of, 50.5. And guess what? Of course that didn't hit. So I mean, that's why I was I'm so like wanting to bet on football that like I just couldn't help it last night. I'm betting these ridiculous spreads from schools I've never seen. It was a small bet, but it didn't work.
Well, good shit.
To bring you some better ones.
If you've heard of one program that's been good for like half a century and the other school, literally, unless you're an alumni, you have no idea who they are, maybe there's something to that 50-point spread. I'm going to throw it out there. But they love the honesty. It's a lot of fun. I mean, always gamble responsibly or bet responsibly.
Absolutely.
Trade responsibly because that's our job and that's our business. So thank you, Ryan. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next week and have a great weekend.
Likewise. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Oh. What happened there? So look, it's already past 4:30. We're going to get you guys out of here, but not before we roll call it. So you know what time it is. This is the time where we give thanks to all of the people that make this possible. I'm going to start it out with our team. Sean, Adara, Brendan's back next week. Sharif, we had Obi do the midday. Of course, Fabian and Ramin on the 1s and 2s. And great job by Fabian with that sad trumpet on the lunar trade because we both had it this morning. And of course, thank you to Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the business. And a big shout out to our guest just now, Ryan Funa. So without further ado, let's get it on down to roll call. Neo, Rob, love the name, Mike Breeze, Bora Hout, Tommy McDonald, Pineapple Undies, why not? Jeremy Newman, Darwin, Hayden J, 3727, Hugh Jassy, you got me to say it, Monty G, Brandon Townsend, Bitcoin trader, holla, Bitcoin's taking it on the chin a little bit. Lucas Chavez, Cesar Montez, Paco OR, Richard Fan, now it's going too fast, Jeff, Muriel, Tommy Ellis, Brian Thompson, Travel Buddy, Honcho, Kat, Alvin, Jai Singh, 4X, 4Zao, Pillsbury, we got Hayden again, we got Michael P, the Piper, we got Stun Gunu, we got Honcho Trays, Rivian Millionaire, you get a shout out, JC, Ian Rispetto, thank you for those super chats all the time, brother. And Anthony K, Crypto FOMO, Kalika, 81.37. We got Shanti Mebs, we got Lava, we got Sally Garzin, Richard V, Oliver Castros, Howell Capital Trading, Bears versus Bulls, Brian Thompson again. That's what she said. Blue Arrow, apple and raisin pancake with powdered sugar. Okay, I gotta breathe after that. Apple and raisin pancakes with powdered sugar. You know what? I might try that tomorrow. We'll see. It's a long weekend, so I want to remind everybody. I always end it off the same way when I get the pleasure of doing the afternoon show. That as much fun as we had today and as much fun as we had this week, we're going to come right back and do it next week, but it's not Monday morning at 8:30. So you get plenty of rest. It was Nvidia earnings. We got inflation data today. We had all kinds of activity and volatility in this market. But we're going to do it all next week, Tuesday morning, after the Labor Day long weekends. If you got fantasy football drafts, good luck to you. I know I have mine on Sunday, doing it with Sean. Our high school buddies have been doing it for at least over a decade, probably longer than that because we're old. But enjoy your long weekend, everybody. From the entire Trader TV Live team, happy Labor Day weekend. We'll see you Tuesday morning, bright and early, 8:30. Bye, guys.